They got HVAC people that are working on stuff. That might be part of it.
Think so? Probably is. I did see that guy in there earlier.
It is Tuesday, Tolo Tuesday, as we like to call it right here on Wire to Wire. Daniel Jeremiah put out his top 150 prospects yesterday in the NFL draft. Where do the South Carolina boys rank in his poll, in his top 150? He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. Glad to have you along today on again, Tolo Tuesday edition of Wire to Wire. I don't know if you've seen this yet or not, Diesel, but I always do respect the job that Daniel Jeremiah does.
I love Daniel Jeremiah. He's a proud App State alum.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Whenever he's on ESPN or wherever he goes, he's always got App State helmets behind him on his little shelf.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I learned something new today. App State, Daniel Jeremiah.
Whoop, whoop.
So I always love his draft analysis. I think he's one of the better. We're very used to Todd McShay. We're very used to the same
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper, right? I think ESPN let Todd McShay go just a few years ago, but
it's a shame.
We're used to the same old drafts, right? What I was surprised by, Diesel, when you look at Daniel Jeremiah's top 150 players, top 150 prospects, I was very surprised by a lot of things. Number one, I'll start with this. There are 35 players, in Daniel's opinion, that are better than Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, cornerback, right? I don't know that I agree. I think that we're so engulfed with mock drafts, Diesel. I think sometimes we get a little too mocky, if you will. But I would love to take this 150 and compare it to what we see Thursday and Friday in terms of the actual draft and see where it lines up.
Well, you never know what people are thinking when it comes to mock drafts. Like, you can pretty fairly guess what 1 through 3 are going to do.
Sure.
After that,
it's a crapshoot.
All bets are off because maybe the guy that they wanted at number 7 is not there anymore. So they got to wheel and deal, and they got to trade and get this guy, and they got to move and deal and horse trading. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff gets blown up. And you know as well as I do, it's never the best player goes to the team with the number 1 pick, and then 2 goes to 2, and 3 goes to 3, and 4 goes to 4. A lot of these teams are drafting to fill needs, right? So sometimes maybe it's the 18th best player in the draft based on whatever metric you want to base it off of, and he gets picked 3rd because the team picking 3rd really needs that position.
So Daniel Jeremiah says Nate Wiggins, cornerback out of Clemson. He's a tall, thin, long cornerback with outstanding speed. He's effective in press coverage. He likes to get his hands on the receivers, but he'll need to let go earlier at the next level. He is a fluid mover, says Jeremiah, and has plenty of deep speed. He can locate and play the ball down the field. He will have concentration lapses at times, trying to peel back at the quarterback, which makes him lose position in terms of coverage. He goes on to say from off coverage, he is efficient in his transition, and he closes in a hurry. Daniel Jeremiah says he was a little disappointed in Nate Wiggins' lack of aggression against the run at Clemson. He is content to hang on to blocks at times, sometimes a little bit too long, and his effort to chase down from the backside is spotty at best. Some of this could be due to high play counts, but it still bothers him. He says overall, Wiggins is dripping with athleticism and physical traits, Diesel, but he needs to be more invested in the run game. And my worry is if this is true, if Daniel Jeremiah has really done his homework, and this is not just a Jeremiah take, but a take from scouts in the NFL, that's a huge concern. That's a huge concern for Nate Wiggins because in the NFL, you have to be a corner that can play the run. So I guess my question is to Clemson fans and anyone in the audience who has seen Nate Wiggins play at Clemson, because he is a really good corner. Do you think there is concern from him translating his game to the college, from the college level to the pro level?
Well, that's one of those things, that final line you just said there. He needs to be more invested in the run and the lack of aggression against the run. You know as well as I do, Cole, that the NFL is a pass first, run second league. Sure, that's going to affect some plays, but the vast percentage, the high majority of plays are pass plays. So I'm not sure that this one critique, this one, look into his play, I don't know that that's going to be that big of a deal at the NFL level.
He has Enos Rakestraw Jr., cornerback out of Missouri, ahead of the Clemson Tiger, ahead of Nate Wiggins. I'm looking at the corners that are ahead of him because you and I did a segment, late last week in terms of you asked the question, who would go first, right? A Clemson Tiger or a South Carolina Gamecock. He also has, obviously there's a lot of offensive guys, but Edgerrin Cooper, Texas A&M linebacker, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Alabama corner, better than Nate Wiggins. Listen, I'm not saying that Nate Wiggins is the best corner in the draft. Cooper DeJean from Iowa, but I'm just saying that I do think Nate Wiggins in this power ranking is better than 36. I think he's a better player than 36. I think he's, I think he'll have a successful NFL career, but I was surprised there. I was very surprised to see him that low in terms of Daniel Jeremiah's top 150 prospects. Do you know where Xavier Legette came in, Diesel?
Well, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
I figured this is where we're going to go next.
Sure.
So I scrolled down, but the question is, does the audience have a guess where they think? This is just an instant thing. If you're going to do it, you better get in an answer quick. Those of you Tolos watching on the stream, give us a number. Take a guess where Daniel Jeremiah has ranked Xavier Legette. We're going to give you 10 seconds to give your guesses, okay?
This is a top 150 draft prospect. While you get your guesses in, I'll tell you what he says about Xavier Legette. Daniel Jeremiah says Legette's a thick, muscled-up receiver with impressive top speed and toughness. He relies on physicality more than quickness to power through press coverage, which I do agree with. He isn't a polished route runner, but he can build speed and win 50-50 balls. He has reliable hands and has a nice blend of speed/toughness after the catch. He plays much faster with the ball in his hands. Overall, Legette doesn't offer a full complement of routes, but he can do damage with his select few. Someone guesses on the stream. JD says 22. Try again. 71307.
Not so much there, JD.
Text the show 71307. Start your text with the word fan. That's the way to text the program. 844-FAN phone is the way you can get in touch. Phone lines are open. That was way too high.
Generous.
Too generous.
Very generous there.
All right, let's reveal it, Diesel.
The answer, first digit 4. First digit 4. Anybody got guesses now? JD, Madcraft, watching the stream. You got guesses now? First digit 4. Going once. Going twice. Second digit 9. 49. The 49th best prospect.
Wow.
In this draft class. So top 50, still good. Still very
No,
good.
that's still good, but here's what I want to do. Of the receivers ahead of him,
Yeah.
I want to ask you and the audience as well. Who are you taking? Xavier Legette or at 44, Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky?
You got Keon Coleman at 42.
Keon Coleman's a good receiver. I do think Coleman's better than Legette. Do you agree with that, or are you a Legette guy?
Honestly, I don't know a ton about Keon Coleman without going back and watching film.
Yeah.
On Keon Coleman, I'd have to look at his height. I'd have to look at his hand size. I'd have to look at his reach and really know, which one of these guys that I would rather take.
Ricky Pearsall from Florida, also ahead of South Carolina's Xavier Legette. I did see from Georgia, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Xavier Worthy from Texas and Ladd McConkey at 30 and 31 in Daniel Jeremiah's top 150. Xavier Legette, though, in case you missed it, comes in at 49 of Daniel Jeremiah's top 150. Do you think that when he says, because I like his description of Legette, we saw him at South Carolina, he doesn't think Legette's much of a route runner. And going back to what we were talking about with
He's a
Wiggins.
stretch the field, maybe go up and get a 50-50 ball kind of guy.
Does that worry you, though, in terms of not being the best route runner?
No, it depends on what your team needs. I mean, if you've that to me is why Xavier Legette might fit very well in a Carolina Panther uniform. I mean, the Panthers don't really need somebody who can run precise inside routes. They need a guy who can stretch the field.
I do think Legette, as I said last week, I do think Legette will have a good career in the NFL. But Diesel, I don't want to rain on the parade. But I think 49 is probably right where he should be, and maybe even a little high. I don't know that I'm sold on Xavier Legette's NFL future. I don't know that I'm sold on his ability to consistently run routes and consistently be, again, you said it. It depends where he goes, right? It depends what situation you're in. Situation in the NFL is a huge, huge thing. It matters a ton.
I just think about Cole, the amount of work that it takes to go in and build a top 150 list like this. Now, he stops writing out a paragraph about each player at number 50. But I mean, just think about this for a second. I mean, Daniel Jeremiah himself is not going on YouTube and searching clips.
Sure.
He's got people behind him whose job it is to go and compile a handful of clips, 10, 12 plays, whatever it is. And then he's got to write up a description on every single, the top 50 players. He's got to write a paragraph on.
Yeah.
This dude had to write like a 15-page paper. Okay?
Knows a lot.
Yeah, it is. And then he's still got to go through and have some reasoning behind everybody ranked 51 to 100. So it's impressive what it takes to put together a list like this.
Like I said, I think for the most part, he's usually dead on the money. Marshawn Lloyd, familiar name, 56. And Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 or 150. Jonathan Brooks, a name 57. And as you said, as he goes down the list, he doesn't give paragraphs.
He's got Ruka Rororo at number 62.
Say that 10 times fast.
A row your boat.
Sounds like your dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Spencer Rattler makes the cut on Daniel Jeremiah's top 150. Spencer Rattler at 89.
That feels a little low.
I think it does too.
That feels a little low. I mean, maybe he's looking at Spencer Rattler and his tendency to run and gun, right? Which is not necessarily going to serve him well in the NFL. But then again, he had a garbage offensive line at South Carolina. He had to run and gun at South Carolina. He didn't have elite receivers at South Carolina, so he wasn't getting separation from his wide receivers. I think Spencer Rattler, had he stayed at Oklahoma, had he ended up somewhere else with a better offensive line or better receivers, he would have been a better looking quarterback. He would have been a better prospect. I still don't see him being a top 50, but maybe he would have gained another 20 spots, been in the mid 60s if he was playing somewhere else with a good O-line.
I'm looking to see how many quarterbacks Daniel Jeremiah has ranked ahead of Spencer Rattler. I think that, okay, there's 3. This is great radio. But I wanted to see where he thought, not just in terms of overall.
I tell you what, while you compile that list, let me tell everybody that tomorrow you and I are going to be on location at Ingles Markets in Powdersville. That's going to be a great store. I hear about that store all the time from all of our live shows and everybody across all of our radio stations who does shows at Ingles Markets.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a blast. So 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. We're going to be there on tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we'll do our Wire to Wire NFL Draft Day live show at Dave & Buster's Woodruff Road in Greenville. So we want to see all you Tolos out at both of those events. Support the businesses that support us. Show them by walking through the door how much you love their assistance and sponsorship of our shows.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Daniel Jeremiah has Spencer Rattler as the 7th best quarterback on the board. Is that too low?
That is deep. That is a deep list to get all the way to 89 and still be inside the top 10.
It is. So in terms of overall prospects, what Jeremiah is telling you is he's not really impressed with the quarterback class as a whole.
Right.
Because there's not many of them scattered.
I think it's like it usually is. There's 3 or 4 that, have extremely high potential. It's always it's a risk to say somebody's can't miss. People thought Trevor Lawrence was can't miss coming out of college, and it's tough going into the NFL and going to the worst team, right? But I mean, there's the top 3 or 4, and then there's an ocean between 5 through 10.
Sure. Will Shipley, Clemson. Where does Daniel Jeremiah in his latest top 150 that he releases every year of the draft, every week of the draft, every year, where does Daniel Jeremiah have Will Shipley, running back out of Clemson? 92. 92 is where Will Shipley finds himself on Daniel Jeremiah's list. I think that's about right.
That's about fair. That's about fair. I mean, Will Shipley didn't do what we all thought he would do at Clemson. I mean, people were certainly putting a lot of pressure on him because, here's this elite level white running back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were comparing him to Christian McCaffrey at Stanford,
which was not a good thing.
Which was not a good thing. But the whole pressure of being a white running back gets laid on you, and it's unfair. He was a good running back. I mean, he was good. He was a good running back. He's certainly not going to go down in the annals of Clemson history, right? Like 20 years from now, not a whole lot of people are going to be in parking lots reminiscing about, remember that time Will Shipley did this?
Sure.
Remember how great Will Shipley was? No, they're still going to be talking about C.J. Spiller.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who I thought is one of the better linebackers in the country. Daniel Jeremiah has at 115. So the Clemson linebacker, 115th. What is that, Diesel? Is that 30, 60? Is that day 3, day 4 pick? I mean, would he fall that low? Is that right?
Yeah, that's day 3. That'd be 3rd round, early.
Wow. I don't know, man.
30, 60, 90. That's
day 3.
4. That's day 4. He's listed at what? 115, you said?
He is listed at
Jeremiah
115.
115.
115.
That's 4th round.
That's low. In my opinion. I think Trotter should be higher. I really do. I liked what I saw from Trotter in his college career. Clemson usually, they've put linebackers in the NFL. I'm not crapping on Daniel Jeremiah's list. Here's a good question. Talking about Shipley, because Shipley and Rattler are not far apart, Diesel. Rattler, again, was 90, or I'm sorry, Rattler was 89. Will Shipley was 92. You said something about 5 years from now. I'll ask you this. 5 years from now, are we talking about Will Shipley in the NFL, or are we talking about Spencer Rattler? Who has the better career 5 years down the road?
Can I say neither?
You can, yeah.
Can I say neither?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that either one is going to have a fantastic career. And it all comes down to who picks them and exactly what happens on those rosters. If Spencer Rattler was picked up by the Chiefs, sorry, bro, you're probably not going to have a great career just because you're not going to see the field. If you get picked up by the Broncos, maybe you get on the field much earlier than anybody expects you to. There is another Clemson Tiger on the top 150.
Okay.
Poll. Xavier Thomas, edge rusher, listed as number 137 on this list. So one more Tiger there before we hit the end of this of Daniel Jeremiah's top 150.
I'll say I think Rattler has a much better career in the NFL than Will Shipley. I'm not
Defined
sold.
as what?
Well, again, you said it. It's all about where you end up, right?
Playing time, longevity.
I think longevity. Because, the shelf life.
I would agree with that then. Yeah.
Shelf life of running backs, not long.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Is Will Shipley even going to, let's be honest, I hate to be Debbie Downer here, but 3 years from now, not 5, 3 years from now, Diesel, I don't think Will Shipley's in the NFL.
Well, there's a reason why it stands for not for long.
Yeah.
Because most guys' careers are 3 years or less. What's the average NFL career? Isn't it 3 years?
For a running back?
Just any.
It's even shorter for a running back nowadays because, number one, they're underpaid.
Average career for an NFL player, all positions, is 3.3 seasons.
That's unbelievable.
Let's see if I can. For running backs, it's 2.57 seasons. So this is interesting.
2.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna. The league average is 3.3. Take a wild guess before. Don't look this up. What position group has the longest average career in the NFL?
What position group has the longest? I would say. I'd say quarterback.
You'd be wrong. Quarterback's number 2.
Okay, surely it's not defense. Is it corner?
Nope.
Oh, I'm lost then.
Kickers.
That's not fair. You said player. You said football player.
Yeah, I didn't say soccer player wearing a skirt. No, the average kicker, punter is in the league for 4.8 seasons. Quarterback 4.4. Offensive lineman 3.6. Defensive lineman 3.24. Linebackers 2.97. Cornerbacks 2.94. Tight ends 2.85. That blows me away. Tight ends. Average career 2.85. Wide receivers 2.81.
That's unbelievable.
It's because there's a lot more of them, I guess.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Running backs 2.57.
So let me ask you this before we wrap this segment up. You said running backs 2.57. Over under 2.57 for Will Shipley. I say under. I really do, man. I'm not sold.
I'm gonna go over just because he'll bounce around somewhere.
It's a good 5 o'clock fight.
Maybe Bill Belichick will put him on a roster somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just not sold on Shipley. I know I may not get a lot of positive feedback from our Clemson fans, but I'm not a Shipley guy, man. I never have been. You said it. Good running back.
Yeah.
Good. He did a good job at Clemson. I just don't love.
He's just okay.
He's okay.
He was just okay. Maybe something that I don't know if this is gonna make Clemson and South Carolina fans like us and agree with us more, Cole, or if this is just going to stir up the angry birds. When we come back, we're gonna power rank the top 3, so the medal stand, best programs at Clemson and at South Carolina, and then we're gonna combine and make a top 5 statewide programs. All sports, top 5 best programs in the state of South Carolina. That's coming up next on Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson. I'm Diesel. This is The Fan Upstate. Cole, I don't think there's any way that this segment could possibly upset anybody.
I thought this was a unity segment.
Yeah, this is when we all come together, we all agree that, we're right, and it's okay to have different opinions, right? That's
Thankfully,
what we're all about.
it is.
That's what we're all about on this segment and on this show. It's Wire to Wire, brand new show here on the Fan Upstate, still under 25 shows total. Can you believe it? But we're rapidly approaching 25 shows for Wire to Wire. It's absolutely fantastic. Today is show number 22.
Wow.
Appreciate all you Tolos who are watching on the web stream. 45 in the web stream right now. Let's push this thing to 75 by the end of this segment. Can we do that? Can you Tolos help us out? Can you go on to Facebook, onto Twitter, onto YouTube, search for the Fan Upstate, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the follow button, and give it a thumbs up if you can. It's any way that you can help us out. Tell those algorithms that you like what you're seeing and that more people should jump in and watch it as well. So, Cole, I wanted to get into something that's highly technical, that is completely above reproach. There's no way anybody will argue with this, okay? I want to power rank the best programs at both Clemson and South Carolina.
Oh,
we'll do it. We'll keep it simple, okay? We'll keep it, do a little medal stand action here. And if you want to add one more for good measure, honorable mention, that's fine too. But I want to hear from the Tolos. I want you Tolos who are watching on the stream to send us a message. Give us your top 3 programs, all sports at Clemson at South Carolina. And if you want to combine them, make a list for the state of South Carolina. Those of you listening on the listening and want to text in, you can do that as well.
Quick question.
71307. Start your text with keyword fan.
Is this, Diesel, just so I know, because I want to rebuttal and obviously give you mine, is this opinion or based on fact of what they've done?
Well, it's a little bit of both.
Okay,
I mean,
gotcha.
it's all opinion, right? Like,
sure.
I mean,
Well,
some of these things, you can't compare what the golf team has done to what the football team
Sure.
has done, right?
Okay.
It's two very different things. So,
Gotcha.
The weights can be subjective. You can value some things a little more than you value other things. Like, I look at this as a power ranking, right? The best teams in their individual sports and how I would compare that to where another team in another sport ranks. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it very simple, okay? I'll help you out. We're considering recent success, maybe a little bit of projected success this season, revenue potential. So just how healthy is the program? But I don't want revenue to be the number one deciding factor, because then obviously it's going to be football's one at all of these places. And I don't think that's necessarily true. So I want to place a heavier premium on success than I do on revenue. So here we go. I'm gonna list for you, Cole, my medal stand of my top 3 programs overall at Clemson University. Okay. Number 3 on my list is baseball. Eric Bakich doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Fantastic job at Clemson. Shows how good I am at anticipating. I'm going to look up their baseball record. They are at the moment.
Look on the wires. I think I put it on there.
They are at the moment
32-7.
32-7. So they're really good.
Yes.
Really good. But they haven't won any titles yet. Eric Bakich hasn't taken them to Omaha yet. Selling a lot of tickets. Lots riding high on this team right now. But it's certainly not good enough to be, on the silver or gold medal stand. Right?
So you say 3.
So baseball is 3. That's pretty good. I mean, what does Clemson sponsor? Like 25, 30 varsity sports or more? I mean, they got rowing. I'm sure they got a badminton team.
Equestrian.
Chess team. No, equestrian, that's in South Carolina. Okay. They don't do that up here. So baseball is 3rd.
Okay.
Football is number 2.
Ooh.
Again, we're getting relative.
No, you didn't.
We're getting relative to the sport. Football is number 2. You know why? Because football's fallen off just a little bit. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes to get knocked off the top of the podium. The number 1 program at Clemson right now, Cole, I don't think you can argue, is men's soccer. 2 national championships in 3 years. Tell me what the football program is doing right now relative, if you want to try to make things all as equal as you can, what is the football program really doing that's better than what the men's soccer program is doing right now?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing to answer the question.
Honorable mention on my list, Cole, was men's basketball. It's not included because I don't trust Brad Brownell with the history of him going up and down and up and down. Elite Eight's fantastic. It's fantastic. And the transfer portal moves that we talked about a lot yesterday, pretty good, but it's not strong enough to reach the medal.
So I don't hate it.
Okay.
I do agree with you on men's basketball not being on the list.
Okay.
I would go soccer 3, baseball 2, football 1 for Clemson. Top sports.
What has the baseball team done?
Well, I think that people. I hate to say
really
this.
done?
I know. Listen to me. I hate to say this. I hate to be this guy. People don't care about soccer. You know.
Well, I know that, but that's why it's all relative.
You're right. And they've won 2 net. They're in a dynasty. I get it.
Yeah,
I get
2 out of 3 titles.
That's tough.
There was a time when football was winning 2 out of 3. Right?
They were.
And then they would have been easily number 1 on this list, but they're not winning 2 out of 3 right now.
I think football still. I don't think football has fallen enough.
Oh, come on.
So there's my Clemson. I like it. I don't hate yours though. I don't hate it.
What credentials are you trying to protect? Who are you trying to schmooze up to, Cole Bryson?
They're listening, Diesel. They're listening.
Of course they are, but hey, they should be happy for all.
I'm kidding.
They should be happy.
They are.
Clemson should be happy that we're recognizing soccer as the best program on campus. That's a hell of a thing.
Oh, no, it's great. It's great. I just don't know if it's the best.
Never in a million years would I have ever thought. Like before I sat down, I was like, it's got to be football 1, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait a minute though, is it really?
Well, it wouldn't
to
be
quote that show. What was it called? I think you should leave. You sure about that?
Wouldn't be any fun if we agreed though. So I have to tell you, you're wrong. But football's still king. So I'll go again. Football 1, baseball 2, soccer 3.
With basketball as your honorable mention?
No, they don't get an honorable mention.
Not at all.
Screw them.
Wait a minute. I thought you were all about some big bad Brad. I can't even say it.
I
haven't said it right once.
I was, but I told you that shiny new toy wore off. It's not shiny.
Me says that he'd never say anything bad about Big Bad Brad again. But real me never said that. Real me never said that. Wesley Roberts. Wesley Roberts on the chat. Thank you for joining in and participating. Wesley Roberts says, in order, football 1, soccer 2, basketball 3. Wesley, really? You're going basketball? You think the basketball program is healthier and better,
no chance,
and more powerful at the moment relative to their sport than the baseball team is?
He says, why is baseball above basketball? Well, I'll tell you this. Number 1, they have a better coach.
Yep.
Number 2, I believe you'll see consistency out of the baseball program. You haven't seen that out of the basketball program.
More consistency out of Eric Bakich than you
Who wins
will out of Brownell.
Who wins the title first, Bakich or Brownell? Let's be serious. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's true.
I hear you, Wesley, and I appreciate you being in this chat.
Yeah, if Clemson misses a regional altogether, then okay, then you got something to say.
Sure.
If they make a super and they get bounced in embarrassing fashion in the first weekend, that's fine. Okay. But
I just like what is
not trustworthy.
I like what Aaron Fitz said yesterday. They made a grand slam of a hire in Eric Bakich, and I believe that. I think
speaks very highly of him. That was his opinion. Okay, so let's move on, Cole, to the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Oh boy.
And rank the top 3 best programs on campus at South Carolina. Again, this is relative. This is not meant to be a dollar figure easy comparison because that's too easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So number 3, I've got baseball. I've got baseball as number 3 on South Carolina's campus because football can't be included when you're having sub 500 seasons. You just can't. You just can't.
Gee.
The baseball program, relatively speaking, is better than the football program right now. That's not a. I don't think that's all that controversial thing to say.
That's rough.
Number 2 on my list is men's basketball. What Lamont Paris did, getting the team to the NCAA tournament with an Island of Misfit Toys roster, and then of course what he's done in recruiting already this offseason. I think the men's basketball program is trending up in a great way. And then of course the easy one is equestrian number 1. Kidding. It's women's basketball. Come on. You really think I was going to do that?
No, I wasn't.
You
buying
really didn't think I was going to do this. This one I don't think has all that much controversy. Football 4.
No, there's not.
Baseball 3, men's basketball 2, and women's basketball 1
So
at South Carolina. Fight me. Not you, but I'm
the only thing I would say is baseball and football might have to be flipped.
No.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Texter says, see, Texter, you're being a pervert. You're being a dirty birdie, okay? He says, softball is fun to watch. Those orange britches.
Maybe he just likes the color orange.
Yeah, he likes the color orange wrapped around legs and thighs.
Another texter says, top 3, Clemson, soccer, basketball, softball, South Carolina, women's basketball 1, baseball 2, men's basketball 3. So there you go. There's another football left off of South Carolina.
Are you reading Ayatollah's message there?
I was. I didn't say the name. I didn't want to screw it up.
Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, who's responsible for sending us that snazzy Clemson flag back there.
Oh,
yeah.
We appreciate that.
You haven't seen this thing unfurled, Cole. This thing is massive. This
Oh,
Clemson flag is huge. It's one of the ones that I believe Ayatollah told us it flew over Death Valley for a while. So it's big enough that you can read it from all over the stadium. We got paperwork in my office for that flag. Yeah, it's official.
Wesley says, is it best right now? ?
It's a power ranking. Yes, that's what a power ranking is.
How can you not take basketball after an Elite 8? I know baseball is solid, but best season in 40 years doesn't crack top 3. It's a great conversation, Wesley.
But you got to look a little bit forward and a little bit backwards, okay? Again,
Maybe
I don't
you're right.
trust Brad Brownell going forward. He can easily.
Yeah.
He's like right there on the edge with the basketball program of pushing up into the medal stand. But the problem is, and this is a great problem to have, is that there's so much success across all the programs at Clemson right now. Somebody's got to be left off the list, right?
I'll be honest. Here's Cole being brutally honest with you, Wesley. You may be right. However, I do have a vendetta toward Brad Brownell. So, I'm not going to lie and act like I love Brad Brownell.
My character arc was to have.
Yeah, but I've never liked him. So, I just because he took Clemson to an Elite 8, I still don't like him. So, Wesley, I'm telling you the truth, man. I'm not a Brownell guy, and that probably has a lot to do with why I agree with Diesel and keep him off the list. I'm sorry. You're not wrong. I hear what you're saying. Elite 8's great, but I'm just not a Brownell guy.
So here, Cole, is when it gets controversial, okay?
Okay.
We rank Clemson in South Carolina because we know where our bread is buttered, right?
Sure.
But now let's go statewide. The state of South Carolina. Let's keep it Division I FBS schools, right? So somebody's not trying to say Erskine has a really great this program. That's awesome, but we can't verify that. Mm-hmm. So my top 5 programs in the state of South Carolina. Number 5, South Carolina men's basketball. Number 4, Clemson football.
Oh.
Number 3, Coastal Carolina baseball. Coastal Carolina has been elite and consistent.
They've fallen off, though.
For a long time. Really? Because they've made regionals the last 2 years running. They made a regional in 2019. Let's see. They made regionals in.
Yeah, with their schedule, they can make a regional.
2012, 2013, 2015, 16, 18, 19, 22, and 23.
There's no way you can put Coastal Carolina baseball above Clemson football. There's no way.
But I did it.
It's an error.
But
it's an error. It's a typo. It's a typo.
No, it's not. I truly believe the consistency that Coastal has had. Look, it's like anything. They have a large deficiency in the resources that they have compared to what Clemson baseball has, what South Carolina baseball has, and yet they've been able to be more consistent than both of those programs. It's not to say that Eric Bakich and Clemson baseball won't surpass them one day.
I don't like
that
it.
level of consistency, but I've got Clemson men's soccer second and South Carolina women's basketball as my number 1 program in the state of South Carolina.
That's crazy. Coastal baseball. Are you kidding me? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here, man. I don't like
Texter
it.
says sand volleyball is clearly number 1 at South Carolina for a multitude of reasons.
We get beach volleyball emails a lot, by the way. Have you seen those?
That take is buns, and you know it.
Literally. All right. It's a good conversation. I like it. I don't like your last one, but for the most part, I'll give you a B+. I want to know,
Not bad.
What? No, it's not bad.
I've been happy
Better
with
than
that
my.
game
That's what I'm saying.
school. Yeah.
All right, dude, let's not go down that road. Carolina Panthers draft week. It's draft week for the Panthers. We want to look back over the past 25 years of existence for the Carolina Panthers. Where do Diesel and I rank their homegrown draft picks? We'll get to that next. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson, and this is the Fan Upstate. Whether we believe it or not, Diesel, it is our job to somehow, some way this week and next week pump some life, some hope into this Carolina Panthers fan base.
Hey, that's all there is right now, right?
Yes.
Hope.
Yes, tons of it.
At least it's not blind hope, right? There were people last year who were saying things like, the Panthers are going to win 11 games with Bryce Young.
You can buy gallons of hope at the store right now for the Carolina Panthers. I wanted to look back and do a little reminiscing. While we reminisce, you and I are going to rank, disagree, or agree with what the Panthers have done overall as a franchise. They have not been in existence terribly long compared to others, right? pretty new on the scene. And I say pretty new. They're not new now, but they still feel like it because they hadn't done anything.
Well, they're about as new as I am. I remember going to Panthers games at Clemson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sat on Jerry Richardson's knee once.
I saw
Don't do that, Cole. That's,
I was laughing.
it was in public. My parents were there. It was fine.
Okay. All right. Focus. I have a question. I want to start this segment by asking a question. Is there any debate? Because I want to hear from Panthers fans. 71307. Start your text with the word Fan Diesel. Is there any debate that Cam Newton is not the best draft pick ever by the Carolina Panthers? Is there any other legs to stand on? Jonathan Stewart, Christian McCaffrey, Steve Smith.
I don't think there's ever been one as impactful. And you know what I should have done yesterday?
Julius Peppers.
I should have compared, and I meant to. This popped up in my brain. I didn't say it out loud. And I don't say everything that pops in my brain, just most of it.
Sure.
I believe that Caleb Williams is going to be like late in his tenure at Carolina, Cam Newton.
Ooh.
Like that level of petulant child. But I think he's going to be that way right out of the gate.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
So I guess the first question to address is, if we're looking at the best draft picks ever by the Carolina Panthers, is there any debate on some picks that they've made in terms of anybody better, more impactful than Cam Newton? You talk about the Chris Gambles, the Mike Menners, the Josh Normans, the Luke Kuechly's, Thomas Davis, Dan Morgan, right, who's back in the organization, Julius Peppers, who I thought is one of my – I'm not a Panthers fan, still one of the most impactful players that I've ever seen.
Can we get Daniel Jeremiah's top 10?
I don't know. It'd be a great question. I'll say this, though. I do not like Cam. I've never been a big Cam fan. However, I do not think there's any debate when it comes to Cam Newton being the best draft pick ever by the Carolina Panthers. I really don't. One texter says Luke Kuechly. I just don't know that Luke Kuechly was more impactful to the city of Charlotte.
I'm on sportingnews.com right now, and I just looked up their list to see what they had to say. They do not have Cam Newton as their number one pick. Ever, all time as a Panther. He's their number two. So this is what they had to say about Cam Newton. Outside of the 2023 NFL draft, Carolina has only had the number one selection one other time.
Ooh.
This was in 2011 when the Panthers hit an absolute home run by taking Auburn quarterback Cam Newton with the top selection.
Okay.
Let's see. They go on to say that Cam Newton confounded defenses with his blend of arm strength, running power, and size. He was waived by the Panthers after the 2019 season and started 15 games with the Patriots in 2020.
Wow. Who'd they have won?
Stephen A. Smith.
Wait a minute.
Steve Smith.
Steve Smith. We just had a text.
Third round pick.
We just had a text that agreed with you.
They say that the 74th overall pick in 2001 was a better pick than the number one overall pick in 2011.
I don't know if I can do that. I don't know, man. I love Steve Smith.
Give me Steve Smith on television every day.
Sure.
I need more Steve Smith on TV. I need more Steve Smith going up to Jerry Jeudy and picking fights.
Spur Daddy says got to be Julius Peppers.
Peppers is 3 on their list.
And I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I get Steve Smith was incredible.
Yeah.
But the way that, and again, I'm not a Cam fan, so I can't believe I'm saying this, but the way that Cam took the city and the organization by storm, I don't know that there's legs, man.
A lot of enthusiasm into that fan base for a while. And then the wheels fell off late.
They did, but I think my one would be Cam, and then I would go like 1B with Peppers, Christian McCaffrey, and Steve Smith.
So they're all 1A, 1B.
Well, no, I think Cam's 1.
Yep.
And then I think 1B is Julius Peppers, Steve Smith, and McCaffrey. I think those 3 are pretty equal in terms of what they did for the organization. I can't put one ahead of another. I think McCaffrey, if he would have finished his career there, might, when it's all said and done, might be 1.
The number 5 pick by the Sporting News, Christian McCaffrey, not on the list. By the way, their top 5 goes Steve Smith, Cam Newton, Julius Peppers 3, Luke Kuechly 4, and Thomas Davis 5th. 2005 first round pick.
Wow.
Number 14 overall. They say he is the literal embodiment of the Panthers keep pounding slogan.
He is. That's true. But what's the most popular position? The most impactful position in sports?
Yeah, but Christian McCaffrey never really endeared himself to the fan base, though. That's where I go. But because I think people loved what he could have been, but he never became that. So I maybe in that way he is.
That's a good debate.
Yeah,
man.
Maybe he is a lot like Will Shipley in that way.
We might get back to that.
Yeah.
We might come back to this later.
When we come back, Cole, we're going to get everybody caught up on the buzz going on in sports with the Daily Wires. And I'm going to ask you, what sport that you're like not that into might actually make it into your sphere of attention?
Beach volleyball?
If you can watch it on mute, I don't think it really counts. That's coming up next here on Wire to Wire. Your chance to come see Cole and I face to face is tomorrow.
Ooh.
Tomorrow, we're going to be at Ingalls Markets in Piedmont.
What if I can't make it out tomorrow?
Well, then I'll just take the whole.
No. I mean, there's a Tolo.
Oh. Well, then
is there another chance to see you this week?
Yeah, there is. You can come see us on Thursday.
On
Thursday, we're going to be at Dave & Buster's Woodruff Road in Greenville for our draft day special. We want to see you Tolos out at both of those events. Every single time we're out on the road, which happens far less than we would like to, right? We want to be out on the road as much as we possibly can. And be out there face-to-face with you, the Tolos. But it doesn't get to happen every day. So when we are out, we want to see you. We want to see you face-to-face. So come see us tomorrow, Ingalls in Piedmont. And then on Thursday, we're going to be at Dave & Buster's on Woodruff Road. Again, it is imperative. It is crucial that you show the businesses that support us that you support them by coming out. And trust me, you're going to have a good time at both of these events, and we want to see you. We want to see you. So, Cole, there's a lot of buzz going on out there. Bzz,
Heck yeah.
A lot of things happening in the sports world that we haven't even gotten a chance to touch on yet today. We are an hour and 2 minutes into the show, and there's a lot of big stuff happening that we haven't even had an opportunity to talk about. So let's do it here. Let's do the Daily Wires. Cole, a 4-goal third period, all 4 of those goals in the final 9.5 minutes pushed the Carolina Hurricanes past the New York Islanders 5-3, and the Canes take a 2-0 series lead. It didn't look good for the Canes for the majority of that game. As a matter of fact, I do believe 3 of those goals came in the last 2.5 minutes of the game. So
I watched. I was scared.
It was a flurry of activity in the last 9 minutes of that game. But here is the goal that tied it up 3-3 from Jordan Martinook. This is his goal.
And a face-off win for the Islanders. 6-on-5 with the empty net at the other end. Svechnikov, another block shot. Burns in the corner to Jarvis. One-timer, score! Tip in, we're tied!
So that tied the game at 3-3, Cole. And then just 9 seconds later on the clock, this happened.
Brewery enters the zone. Plays it in deep for Carolina. Loose. Score!
And he slams this one short side. Yeoman's work by Martinook, a big part of the Canes.
Sebastian Aho got the go-ahead goal 4-3. They eventually won 5-3, Cole. I don't understand how people hear that and they're like, nah, we don't want that in Greenville. Couldn't be us. We're too little. We can't do that.
I don't want to go back down that road. I don't want to get you all worked up.
I want to argue that as much as I can till I'm blue in the face, because I just want people to realize how fun.
Oh, I agree. It'd be great.
And you get to be good early in NHL because you get to pick off of other teams the players that you want. Okay, so back to the Daily Wires. Again, I don't want to make a whole segment out of that because I will get my blood pressure up, and that's not good. Atlanta, the Braves beat Miami last night 3-0 to improve to 15-6 on the season. Got another piece of audio from that game. Ronald Acuna Jr. swiped his 190th career stolen base, the most in Braves history. Here's what that sounded like.
And he's going. The throw down is late. The Atlanta Braves career stolen base record belongs to Ronald Acuna Jr. That's number 190. It was a great jump.
It's a little surprising that Ronald Acuna Jr., as young as he is,
great.
Already has the most stolen bases in Braves history. I know, last year it certainly helped. What did he had? 70, 75, something like that, stolen bases. That certainly helps to have just a monster season the way he did.
What's wild is Rafael Furcal, I remember when he was in his prime.
Ooh, now you're throwing names at me from my childhood.
Well, nobody thought that Rafael Furcal would get past.
Yeah.
And what he's done is exceptional. And,
is the base being 1.5 inches wider really that big of a deal?
I don't think so. I really don't think it is.
Elite speed is elite speed, right? These guys are now at the point where they are specializing. They're getting so good that even when the pitcher catcher knows what you're going to do because you're Ronald Acuna Jr., you're still stealing bases.
You have to. You have to do it
Yeah.
once a game. And as good as he is, man, they still can't, they can't figure it out. But a good win for Atlanta last night.
Yep.
They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, beat up on bad teams. And Miami's not a good team. And Braves are taking care of business.
They will play again tonight, the Braves and the Marlins. Max Fried will take the mound. The Cavaliers lead the Orlando Magic 2-0. New York leads Philly 2-0. And Denver leads Los Angeles 2-0 after last night. Any big shockers in there for you?
Not necessarily big shockers. Philly, I thought Philly would get the job done. I thought Philly would tie it up. And then Denver, LA. I'll tell you the shocker in that game was Denver trailing by 20. LA having a 20-point lead in that game late last night.
I didn't bet the under again.
No, but I did bet Denver minus 5.5. That did not hit, by the way. So giving up a 20-point lead, not the best look for the Lakers last night. Now they're down 0-2, 2 more losses, and their season is over.
Going back to the Diamond, the Philadelphia Phillies are now only a game back from Atlanta in the NL East. As of right now, they rank Braves 1, Phillies 2, Mets 3, Nationals 4, and Marlins 5. So the Atlanta Braves are beating up on the worst team in the NL East. Hey,
Yeah.
that's how you get to be the best team. You beat up on the teams that you're supposed to beat up on. Number 5, Clemson in baseball, who are 32-7. They travel to Athens tonight to take on the number 20 Georgia Bulldogs at 29-10. How you feeling about that one?
It's a big game. I would really feel good about Clemson if they had one of their weekend guys going. Obviously, with it being a midweek game, they don't. I don't know who they're going to throw tonight in terms of starting pitcher, but that's going to be the tail of the tail tonight. I mean, how good is Clemson's starting pitcher? How do they? Georgia, 20th team in the country. They play in a brutal conference. They're better in my opinion than 20. I think it comes down to Clemson's pitching tonight. Again, I'd take them in the weekend. If they were playing Georgia in a weekend series, I'd feel fine. But midweek games, man, you never know.
Smart move though to get Georgia on the schedule. As many times as Clemson and Georgia can play each other.
Oh, it's great.
Better. I mean, we need more of that.
It'll help
football too.
It'll help if Clemson does get this win on the road. That'll be big for their RPI come Labor Day.
South Carolina baseball is off for a midweek game this week due to exams. And finally, Nick Harbor has been awarded the SEC Track and Field Men's Co-Freshman of the Week. Shout out to Nick Harbor. That was a big deal. One of the reasons why he chose South Carolina is because they allowed him to go do his track and field thing, and he is doing it and doing it well. So congratulations to Nick Harbor on that. Those are your daily wires.
One more I want to add.
One more.
Just came in a few minutes ago. ESPN breaking news. NBA and Denver police are looking into an altercation where Nikola Jokic's brother reportedly punched a fan after Monday's game. Are they related to the Angel Reese family? Or I'm sorry, was it Angel Reese, her brother? No, it wasn't Angel Reese. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
You sure it wasn't? Wasn't it Angel's brother who came across?
I can't remember. Whoever from LSU
I'm pretty sure it was.
came across.
Yeah.
What is it with brothers punching fans and going after fans, man?
What is it with people not being able to control their emotions anymore, man? It's like we've lost our ability to speak civilly and use our words.
Punched a fan.
Yeah,
that's rough, man.
Like how
Flau'jae Johnson. I'm sorry. It was Flau'jae's brother.
He's probably in a suite somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, who are you punching?
Yeah.
Who are you coming out of the suite to punch a fan? Like what's
just
going
throw
on?
a drink on him.
Right. Yeah. Do it the way a billionaire would do it. Just throw a drink on somebody. Okay. So there you go.
Again, I apologize to Angel Reese. It was Flau'jae Johnson's brother.
Those are your daily wires. It's a fantastic thing that we do each and every day because Cole, we can't get to every single topic, and not every topic needs 15 minutes of conversation on it. Sometimes you just want to move through these things quickly. Cole, one thing I do want to ask you, and I want to ask all the Tolos who are listening, 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. You can also call us on the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone line. That's 844-326-3663. Cole, there are always sports that are going to be your favorites. If some people have a medal stand that's only one sport. Like you really only care about one sport. Some people like to follow 3, 4, 5 sports. So everybody's ranking system is going to look a little bit different here. But I want to ask you, Cole, and I want to ask you, Tolos, those of you watching on the stream as well, of the sports that you don't pay a ton of attention to, like the ones that are not on your medal stand, as big as that medal stand may be. What's that sport that's just like right there on the edge that you maybe have really considered adding to your repertoire? A sport that you really want to pay attention to, but for whatever reason, you never have. What is that sport for you?
That's a great question. So that I've never paid attention to, but I've wanted to. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's like it's right outside of your top 3, 4, 5.
I've got one. I've got it.
You have more mental bandwidth for sports than I do. You
boxing.
watch a lot more sports. You wish you watched more boxing.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I was very intrigued by this past weekend's fight with Haney and Garcia. I was super intrigued by it. I've watched a ton of clips about it this past weekend, and that's mine. It's boxing.
Boxing. I never really wanted to be that into boxing. Like, I've never wanted to be that much into UFC. I don't like UFC.
I prefer boxing over UFC.
I liked UFC early.
Yeah.
Right. I liked what it was when it was growing. And then it's grown into something that it feels like it's taking on a little bit of the WWE silliness. It feels like we're trying to create storylines out of the octagon. And that's just not that compelling to me. I want to see good fights. I also, I don't love watching women punch each other in the face. Some people are weird and they love that. I mean,
no, I agree with you on MMA. I had never got into it, or UFC. I do like Spur Daddy's F1 racing though.
F1?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I've tried. I've watched a little bit of was it? There's Indy and there's kart. I can never remember which one is which.
Yeah.
But I've watched some. I love the off the racetrack, like Le Mans races, the ones where they are racing through city streets. That's compelling as hell. That's really interesting. And I loved. A lot of people didn't like it. The NASCAR race in downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
Last year, I thought that was great.
It's cool.
Like, I loved seeing these guys bottoming out on potholes that I know the city drivers in Chicago are bitching about every single day. Right? They're like, fix that one on Smith Street and 27th Avenue. But these NASCAR drivers, they got to go out and hit these same potholes too, right? I love putting guys who are used to perfection into imperfect scenarios. For me, Cole, it's always been hockey.
Yeah.
I've wanted, and every year I tell myself, this is the year. Like, from game one, I'm really going to pay attention to hockey this year.
I like that answer.
Happens.
I like it. I like hockey too.
Never actually happens for me though. Like, I'm trying to learn, like, a lot of the players for the Carolina Hurricanes. And it's just like, I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
I need every single Saturday for college football. I need every single Sunday for NFL. But the fact that it bounces around all over the place, that's just me. That's just me.
No, I'm with you.
So that's just me.
844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663 is where you can chime in and get in on the conversation of the sport that you have never been into but would like to, or the Daily Wire's conversation. D wants to chime in. What's up, D?
Hey, man, I'm back, baby. I told y'all the Lakers, the Nuggets would let them hang around early, and then when it come crunch time, they would crush them. And that's exactly what happened. I went to sleep on the game. They was up 20. I knew the Nuggets was going to come back and beat them fools. And then AD at the mic talking about Jamal Murray hit a shot. He hit shots all night. So did Jokic. So they got to do something about that if they want to win.
D, listen, thanks for the call, number one. Number two, that was an iconic shot from Jamal Murray. It was iconic, man. I don't want to say it was Ray Allen iconic for Miami, but it was the way that shot happened. The still, I don't know if you've seen it, the still shot, the photo of AD reaching out, the crowd in the background. It's a bad loss to blow a 20-point lead. So I agree with you.
I've seen that photo, Cole, compared side by side to the one from North Carolina and Kentucky.
Oh yeah,
the exact same duo, exact same shot, exact same location.
Hey, but that's Jamal Murray, baby. Look at last year when they won it. He was hitting iconic shots all through the playoffs. That's what he do.
He's big time.
That's what he do.
Hey, let me ask you this real quick before we let you go, D. Appreciate you chiming in, by the way. But do you think Jamal Murray, like, I know he's a great player, maybe a Hall of Famer one day, but do you think if he was in a bigger market, you think he'd be a bigger star?
I don't know. I think them guys from Canada, they're not, as far as, I don't know, American guys, I don't know if he has if he was in New York or LA, if he would be a bigger, I don't know. But I don't think he's that kind of guy. I'm from Michigan, but I grew up and my family's in Colorado, and I just, that's a big market. Colorado is huge. People just don't know about it, and I just don't know, man. I think, and then I think if Jokic wasn't on the team and they had somebody else and they were doing the same thing, then yeah, he probably would be a bigger spark. But I don't even think he cared about it. I think he just liked to go out and ball, baby.
I agree with you. Hey, thanks for the call, D. 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. Trey answers your question, Diesel, and says hockey, it's not even close. I think hockey and boxing are right there for me. Pretty close.
Yeah, hockey is it's one of those things. First of all, it's a little difficult for a lot of Americans, especially Southerners, to figure out the names, right? There's a lot of Russian names. There's a lot of, Eastern European names. That's a little bit tough to deal with. So it's we're hearing words and sounds that we're not expecting. But it moves so fast. And that's why I think a lot of people would really get more into hockey if you just spent some time with it, especially at the NHL level. Like you can watch ECHL, and I'm not trying to bag on anybody who plays ECHL hockey, but it's just a different level. There's dudes out there who are on their way up, and they're not necessarily they're not running sets, they're not running plays in the same way they do in the NHL. It seems to be just a different level of strategy in the NHL. So
it sucks though.
You got to give it an entire season to really figure out what it is they're doing.
I agree. So like talking about NHL playoff hockey, I've said it before. Playoff hockey, it's tough to beat. But why is the lower level, for example, and again, like you said, not hating on them, but last night, playoff hockey in the Upstate, I saw a picture, here in Greenville.
Empty. Yeah.
I don't know if the quality of play is that big of a difference.
I do want to see this, Cole. We, across most of our sports here in the Upstate, we have essentially lowest level pro, right?
Sure.
It'd be single A ball, ECHL, USL League One. We need to elevate. Okay. We need Greenville to have minimum second level AAA ball. We need to have a AAA ball team here in South Carolina.
Yeah. I don't hate it. All right. Coming up next, David Newton of ESPN. He covers the Carolina Panthers for ESPN. He joins the program next to talk Panthers draft. It is draft week. As we have been leading you up to Thursday's draft, we will continue our draft coverage of not just Carolina Panthers, but also Atlanta Falcons, getting you ready for Thursday's NFL draft. And no better way to get Panthers fans ready for Thursday's draft than to be joined by David Newton of ESPN. David, we appreciate you joining us this afternoon. I want to start with a Panthers draft question that should be a simple answer. In your estimation, Carolina Panthers obviously don't have a first-round pick, but should the Panthers stay, or do you think there's any movement that could be had come Friday?
Yeah, I do think that they'll trade one of their 2 second-round picks. I don't think they'll trade into the first round. I think they want to pick up additional picks if they can on the second day, preferably. So I do think something like that could happen. So whether that's the 33rd pick or the 39th, I think one of those trades will move to probably pick up a extra third round pick and give them a little bit of more people to put around Bryce and to build this a more complete team. It all depends. I mean, if the right guy is there at 33, they'll probably go ahead and take him, but they'll have overnight. And I've written a story that's going to come out later in the week about how that pick's actually become pretty valuable these days because people have all night to kind of think about it, and they can, come up with offers. And it's actually that your pick's been traded quite a bit since they went to a 3-day show instead of having, the first and second round all in one day.
ESPN NFL Nation reporter for the Carolina Panthers, David Newton, joins us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. David, this is Diesel here. We know that the Carolina Panthers have an awful lot of needs, but we look at, what they may do there with number 33 and 39. A lot of the general consensus is thinking going wide receiver, potentially defensive back there. What would surprise you of the Panthers' needs? What would surprise you if they attempted to address that need first with these second-round picks?
I really wouldn't be surprised at any spot they took unless it was a quarterback. That would stun me because I don't think they're going to go there in the second round or third round, and probably not the fourth or fifth. I mean, if there was somebody in the 7th round that they wanted, they may take a flyer on that because Dave Canales does want to have 3 quarterbacks. He does want another young quarterback to come in and try to develop. But I think they've got probably 5 positions that if the right player was there, that they would take one of that player in that position. And I think wide receiver is obviously a huge need. I think cornerback's still a concern out there. I think center, because you only have Austin Corbett moving from guard to center, a position he hasn't really played in the NFL. I think that's a need if one of those guys was there. Also, edge rusher. I mean, you've got 2 guys they signed, and Clowney's one. And he's 31 years old. They've got a 2-year deal, but you need to have some long-term security there. So I think that's another situation that they've got to look at. And, again, there's a tight end, I think, still a big need too. I mean, I know they said they like Tommy Tremble, but I really do believe that if the right tight end was there, they'd have to take a look at that.
You can follow him on Twitter at DNewtonESPN. David, I want to go back to your answer in the very first question. You said that you feel like there's a good possibility that the Panthers do trade one of their second-round picks. Do you think, though, even if they were to do that, do you think that's the right move?
No, I 100% think that's the right move because, again, you at that point, at the end of it's basically an extension of the first round. Basically, if you can get another draft pick in that first day and have 4 picks between rounds 2 and 3, I think overall it's kind of like the New England Patriots philosophy, where the more picks you have, the better chance you have of hitting on one. And they used to always have a late first round pick, and they'd trade back because they felt like they needed to have more picks and pick up extra players. So it's not like the Panthers just have one need to fix this team and make it a Super Bowl contender all of a sudden. I mean, they've had 6 straight losing seasons. They were 2-15 last year, worst in the league. So they have a lot of needs, even though they addressed a lot of those needs during free agency. And so it's a building process. So the more quality players you have and the more quality players you have those top 3 rounds of a draft, I think the better off you are long term.
David Newton, ESPN Panthers reporter, joins us on the show. David, Austin Corbett moved over from guard to play center this year. He's never played the position in a live NFL game, has played a little bit in some preseason games. Who do you like at that position in the draft for the Carolina Panthers? And in your mind, is there an over-under as far as pick position that if they do draft a center, that guy is the presumptive starter and Austin Corbett maybe moves back to a rotational guy at guard?
I don't really think the plan would be to move Austin back. I think the plan would be to let Austin be a part of that rotation and maybe help groom a young guy. I mean, the West Virginia center, I think he's a guy that if he falls there, he's got to be under consideration. Duke's got a player that's played tackle, but he's being more projected as a center guard type player in the draft. So I think one of those two will be probably the top two that we would expect to go that high in the draft. I don't think they would. Any of the other players would be more elite to take them in the second round. So I think you look at those two players as the ones that would probably be the most tempting to take at that spot.
Hey, David, you mentioned the Panthers offseason. How do you feel the Panthers did in the offseason if you were to give them a grade and what they got versus what they lost in the offseason this past year?
I'd give them a C+ to maybe even a B-. I really like what they did. Trading Brian Burns, I know that probably didn't sit well with a lot of people, but mainly because, former general manager Scott Fitter had said that or the reports were that he had been offered 2 first-rounders for Brian in 2022, and what they got was not anything close to that. So, but I do think that trading him was probably best long-term because they just didn't seem like they were going to get a deal done, even if he played on the franchise tag. And I think bringing in Clowney, I think is a good move because that's going to give them that veteran guy that can come in there and create a pass rush. You know what he can do when he's healthy, and he's been healthy at least last year and the year before. So I think that's a good move. DJ Wonnum they got from the Vikings. He's an up-and-coming guy, the edge rusher. That's why I say still, if there's an edge rusher in the second round, even a third, that you really like, you got to take a run at them because those are guys you need more of anyway. And those are guys that they're going to need long-term. Clowney's not a long-term solution. So but I love those moves there. I love what they did at the guard spot. Getting the 2 guards for $150 million and Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt. I think that's going to give Bryce the security he needs to feel in the middle because he really didn't have that last year. I think 35 of his 62 sacks, somewhere in there, came from the guard center spot last year. And he got way more pressure than that too. So that's just not a good thing all around for him. But I love that. I love the trade for Johnson. I think he's going to help the wide receiver core. He's a guy that I think the last 2 years he's ranked number 1 in one of the stats ESPN uses as far as receivers getting open and separation. And the Panthers didn't have anybody that really created good separation last year. In fact, I asked him today, what do you bring to Bryce Young? And his answer was a guy that can get open. So I think they made a lot of really good moves and strengthened this roster. I think the roster is probably better off now than it was this time a year ago.
David Newton joins us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate. You said you'd be shocked if the Carolina Panthers drafted quarterback, and I think 85% of Panthers fans would agree with either the 15% or what we call delusional. But if Bryce Young doesn't perform this year, doesn't show the staff there that he can be better than the guy that NFL.com ranked as the 44th best quarterback in the league in 2023, at what point does the staff have no choice but to maybe start looking at other options? Is 2025 still in your mind way too soon? Or are we pushing this out even farther?
Well, I mean, if he doesn't perform this year and so marked improvement, I think they've got to look in another direction next year. I know it takes a while for young quarterbacks, but I mean, you spend a first-round pick on a guy. The second year is when you see a lot of these guys. The Peyton Mannings and the Eli Mannings and all the guys that had bad first years as a rookie that were taken number 1. That second year is when they started to show that progression and show they could be the guy that they thought they could be when they drafted him number 1. So if he doesn't succeed now, especially when they brought in Dave Canales, who has got a reputation for turning around quarterbacks, who has a reputation for bringing them confidence, then, not only Bryce Young's job will be on the line, but the history we've seen with David Tepper and coaches the last few years, even David Canales' job could be on the line. I know you don't want to say that after they've made all the changes they've made the last 3 years at head coach, but you just never know. If they go 2-15 again, what would happen?
Hey, David, a little bit of a fun question here. Earlier in the show, we did a segment on the Carolina Panthers' best ever draft picks. And I thought that there would be an overwhelming majority of fans who agreed that Cam Newton, what he did for the franchise and the city of Charlotte, would be the overwhelming answer. However, we had some feedback that said that they disagreed, that there were other players like Julius Peppers, like Steve Smith, that were the better draft pick. How would you rank the number one draft pick, and is there any debate there?
Well, I think there is a debate. I mean, Julius Peppers, first, ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, was he third, fourth in the NFL in sacks? So, I mean, in NFL history now. So, I mean, he obviously was one of the greatest picks they ever made, but it was a kind of a no-brainer too. Cam Newton, there's the debate on whether he'll be a Hall of Famer one day. He surely won't be a first ballot Hall of Famer, probably not a second. I would not be surprised if he gets in at one point. But when you look at what he actually did for the franchise, and you're right, what he brought to the city, the attention he got to the organization and the city, got the Panthers to the Super Bowl, was named the league MVP. I still think you probably have to go with Cam Newton. Now, his draft class in general, is that the best ever? Probably not. You got to go back and look at some of those back in the, when Julius was drafted. They had some really great draft classes back then. But I could see where some people would be swayed to go over to Peppers. But again, I think for what Cam brought to the city and everything, I'd probably have to say he was the guy, because, I mean, you got to look at all the intangibles there. I mean, there was attention they got even when Cam wasn't doing anything well, So, as Richard Petty used to say, even bad news is good news. So, when Cam did anything, when Cam moved, I mean, it was news. So, again, I think you got to use out of all the qualifiers, and that would probably put him to the top of the list.
David, a question from one of our Tolo listeners, JD here. What are the odds that this is the year the Panthers draft a Clemson player? I mean, I'm looking at guys who may be available around that time. It depends on need. Obviously, there's Nate Wiggins in this draft. There's a few other Tigers on the board. Is this the year that the Panthers draft a Tiger?
It stuns me when I think back that they've never drafted a player from Clemson, because Clemson's had so many great players. I mean, it's really mind-boggling in a lot of ways. If Wiggins is there at the top of the second round, I think that's just an easy pick. You just go ahead and make him your pick. You don't worry about what people offer. You take him, because I think he's that quality of a corner that could come in and help this team immediately. They've got some other defensive linemen, I think, that could help this team immediately. So, whether this will be the year, I don't know. I mean, a lot depends on, again, if Wiggins were to fall out of the first round. But that is one of the stunners for me, because I've covered this team from the very beginning, and there have been a lot of players I've gone to Clemson Pro Days where I thought, man, this would be the guy they need to take, especially that class where they had all 4 or 5 of their defensive linemen went in the first couple of rounds. I mean, there was amazing talent there. So, I don't know why that hasn't happened. No real good explanation other than they liked other players better. But if it's going to happen, why not this year?
David, you're the absolute best. We so much appreciate your time, and always great talking to you, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. That's David Newton of ESPN. A ton to get to there. Diesel, I feel like we need a segment just to react. I was very intrigued about what he said. The very first question, trade one, is what he thinks they should do.
Yeah, I also thought it was fascinating that he said that he really likes Nate Wiggins, and if he's there, if he's available, which the Carolina Panthers have the 33rd pick, and he's listed as the 36th best prospect on this list, that he's a guy that the Carolina Panthers really like. So, look, this is one of those fun things that, we ultimately understand means nothing, right? But it's still interesting. It's still a fun storyline to say he's just haven't drafted a Clemson player. How has it never happened? It's just
crazy,
down the road.
though, man.
So, yeah. So, Cole, when we come back, this may be a calculated risk on my part. But in honor of Tom Brady, the GOAT, and his upcoming greatest roast of all time, I want to give each one of our Tolos a chance to roast you and I.
Ooh.
If you've got a roast, if you've got a criticism, if you just got a joke, it doesn't even have to be all that real. You've seen roasts. You know how they go. We'll talk about the Tom Brady roast and then get to your roasts of Diesel and Cole Bryson. That's next here on Wire to Wire on the Fan Upstate. Cole, have you ever eaten goat?
Goat.
Yeah.
I've had
Goat.
lamb, but not goat.
Never had goat.
I
Well,
don't
they're
think
going to
so.
roast goat on May 5th.
Is goat any? What's the difference between a goat and a lamb?
Two different animals,
Are they
first of all. Yeah,
same family though? Right?
I mean, they're both cloven-hooved animals. But
Got to be in the
a
same family.
lamb has the fluffy white.
Got to be related, man. They've got to be. They got to be like first
Wait a
cousins.
minute, Mr. Outdoorsy just asked me if a lamb and a goat are the same
Well,
thing.
you know, they haven't allowed goat hunting in South Carolina yet, or lamb hunting, so I'm not really.
I've eaten goat.
Have you really?
I've eaten goat a couple times. We had it at the Upstate Barbecue Festival
Oh, okay.
over the weekend. Too bad you didn't come to that because they had goat.
No.
But I had it in Curacao. Place had goat that was cooked in a curry sauce. Ultimately, then when you cook it in a curry sauce, it's all going to taste like curry, right? So it was okay. It was good. It wasn't my favorite thing. But anyway, Tom Brady, we all know, is the GOAT, even though Lonzo will never admit that Tom Brady is the GOAT. He still considers Tom Brady to be a game manager.
Oh, God.
I think that was dispelled pure and simple after he left New England, kept winning Super Bowl titles on Bill Belichick. Ain't done squat since.
Sure.
But Tom Brady is officially, finally getting roasted, Cole, and we have a date. It's called the greatest roast of all time. This was talked about, announced way back in May of 2022. Well, Netflix has revealed that they will tape and air live the roast of Tom Brady on May 5th at 8 p.m. It's going to be live on Netflix, the roast of Tom Brady. Kevin Hart's going to host. I'm sure there's going to be a star-studded group of people who are going to be there. It will be unedited. It will be uncensored. So you're going to hear some people who are worth far less money saying some truly awful things about Tom Brady.
Who all is going to be roasting him?
Let's see. Who?
Like, is it like, I know you said Kevin Hart.
A lot of them are going to be the so as of right now, it is a quote unquote pile of mystery guests. But Jeff Ross will be one of them. He's a comedian. He used to do all of the Comedy Central roasts.
Yeah.
If you ever watched any of those, you'd see him. You'd be like, oh, Jeff Ross. Yeah. The tubby one, right? The one that had the horrible hair and the bad skin and the fat. But anyway, he is roast master general. He is fantastic at doing roasts. So he's going to be up there doing it. But I mean, I would have to think that his marriage is fair game. They're going to go after everything with Tom Brady.
Ex-marriage?
Yeah.
Or is it? I don't know.
Oh, it's done. It's donezo. But we want to give you, Trey says llamas are cousins with goats that wear turtlenecks. Trey, just llamas are cousins with goats.
That's funny.
That wear turtlenecks.
That's great.
That gives me a headache, Trey, just reading that.
How they have the fur on the neck?
Llamas and goats aren't even close. What are you talking about?
No, he's
Trey?
talking about, they look similar.
No, they don't. No, they don't. A goat is small, like the size of a medium-sized dog. A llama is big.
Are goats and lambs in the same family? They've got to be. While sheep and goats are similar and can be mated, they belong to a different genera in the subfamily. That's a word I can't pronounce. Of the family, another word I can't pronounce.
So no, they're not related.
That's bogus. There's no way.
You can make them.
There's no way.
I wonder if they're close enough genetically, like horses and donkeys, to make mules.
Yeah.
Like, is there such a thing? Can they have offspring? A lot of times they're sterile, right? But anyway, I want to give you, the Tolos, a chance to roast us in honor of the upcoming roast of Tom Brady. He says Tom Brady claims that he is unroastable, which means shut off the cameras, don't bother showing up, right?
He's got a good point, though. I mean, you can't roast a guy who's.
I loved the Comedy Central roast.
Yeah, I like him too. But man, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with Tom Brady?
Make fun of him for being so handsome, so successful.
I mean,
still in great shape in his mid-40s, rich, Super Bowl winning player.
That'd be tough.
Multiple teams.
That'd be tough.
Like, what do you roast Tom Brady on other than deflated balls?
And his ex-marriage,
failed
I guess.
marriage.
I mean, yeah, but who doesn't have a failed marriage now?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is like, yeah, his marriage with Giselle fell apart.
Yeah.
but he's still Tom Brady. Like,
That's what I'm
he
saying.
can go get anyone he
Yeah.
wants.
You're right.
He could go get anyone he wants, any supermodel in the world that he wants. Maybe not. Maybe it's not a good idea to date another supermodel because they probably know Giselle or they look up to Giselle, or Giselle could ruin their career if she wanted to. But like literally anyone else, just don't do what the young kids in the NFL do. Don't hook up with a TikTok influencer. Don't do what Aaron Rodgers does, starting dating girls with colors for names. Don't do that. Like, you have your pick of the litter, Tom. Don't screw this up.
Texter says, growing up, a family had a goat next door. After a couple of months, there was a great smell in the air. Jerk goat is amazing. Did he jerk the neighbor's goat? Like, cook him?
No.
All right,
Wow,
next
Cole.
text. Hey, let's not forget the deflated footballs for cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
There's
your list.
That's what you're hanging your hat on, Texter.
That's your list.
Is 1.5 PSI short of regulation.
Yeah.
That's what you're hanging your hat on. I don't think that's going to work, man.
Trey said his long hair back in the day. Yeah.
That was bad. That was bad.
What about his physique? Like the picture of him coming out of college, out of Michigan, looking like a Hunter Renfro.
Looking like one of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Bag on Tom Brady for what he looked like 25
That's what I'm
years ago.
saying. Like, this is going to be hard.
It's hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to roast Tom Brady.
Ben in Simpsonville gets in on the first roast of Diesel and I. Cole and can't read that one on the air. Cole and Diesel are lambs.
Limited athleticism, Mike B words. Thanks, Ben. And so
We appreciate that, Ben. Can't handle his avocado tequila either, says a texter.
Mongo asks, is talking about goat jerking an FCC violation? Well, Mongo, it depends on context.
You just said you ate it over the weekend.
I did say that, but you said you talked about goat jerking.
The neighbor, the text said they had a goat, and the next thing he knows, it was jerked goat. I thought he meant he cooked it.
That is what he means.
That's what I thought.
Where did you go?
No, that's what I thought. I wasn't going anywhere else. I don't know what you're talking about. I was definitely thinking about cooking it.
Yeah, Mongo.
That sounds gross, by the way.
It is contextual. Some of the words that you can't say on the radio, like you can say the B word. Like we can say, hey, Joel Embiid was bitching and moaning about the calls in the game.
Sure.
But I can't say that David Tepper's wife is a B word. That's an FCC violation. Context matters.
Gotcha.
Context matters.
There you go, Mongo. There's your FCC lesson of the day.
Hey, coming up at in the very next segment, 10 minutes from right now, we have the 5 o'clock fight, one of which is a fight provided by one of our listeners, by Mad Craft. We're going to get into that coming up on the other side. And do want to remind you that on Thursday, we are going to be live at Dave & Buster's Woodruff Road in Greenville for our draft special. We keep telling you because we want to see all of you out there. We want to see you decked out in your gear. We want you to let Dave & Buster's know that you know all about them and that you support them because they support us. This is just a whole bunch of people holding hands, man, singing Kumbaya, supporting each other.
Trey in Kentucky says something like, what is the difference between pork and beef? Another texter says, David said Panthers are going to trade a pick, ? We're going to potentially get back into that. We'll get back into that.
That was a big
We'll react to David's interview somewhere coming up. We'll shift some shifts. We'll make some shifts, texter, and we'll get back to that because it was a action-packed interview, if you will. A lot of meat on the bone.
Yes, we will.
All right. As Diesel said, coming up next, it's time to fight. Diesel and I have to agree. What are we going to disagree on today? every single day, every single weekday at 5 o'clock. Diesel and I will throw them up and disagree and debate like you've never heard before. He's Diesel. I am Cole Bryson, and together we are Wire to Wire right here on the Fan Upstate. I love a good debate. I love a good fight, and we have 3 really good ones coming your way. So, with that being said, it is now time to fight. If you want to get your thoughts in on the fight, whether you agree with me or disagree, or agree with Diesel or disagree with Diesel, you can do so. 71307. Start your text with the word fan. You can also get to us on Twitter if you haven't done so. Find us there. Give us a follow, and we will interact with you on Twitter as well. He's at Diesel on Radio. I am at the Cole Bryson. Again, at the Cole Bryson on Twitter. Diesel, you ready?
Let's do it.
All righty. Round 1. You, Diesel, are the general manager on Thursday. Congratulations on your accomplishment. The only thing I need to know now is, are you taking your beloved Caleb Williams or Drake May head-to-head? Who do you like?
Oh, man. You know, their numbers in some senses are very, very similar. In 2023, Caleb Williams threw for 3,633 yards. Drake May threw for 3,608 yards, both in not the strongest conferences in college football.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams was the 11th best quarterback based on QBR in 2023. Drake May was 15th. Drake May threw a few more interceptions and a few fewer touchdowns. Caleb Williams, I think, has a ton of talent, but I don't think he's got it right here where it really, really matters. So I'm eschewing the talent level, which I think is probably marginal, and I'm going after a guy who is a better teammate in the locker room. Give me Drake May.
You know, Diesel, I don't hate your answer, but guess what? Somebody's got to be wrong, and you're wrong. I'm going to go head-to-head Caleb Williams. While I may agree that that Caleb Williams kind of looks like a nutcase, he may be.
Wesley Roberts says Caleb Williams paints his nails.
He does. That's what I'm saying.
That's not even an insult. That's true.
No, I know. I agree. The only bad thing is I'm going to gamble that his on the field is worth it. I'm going to gamble. It's a big gamble.
Hey, a lot of the best rock stars are crazy, right? Maybe you got to take the crazy to get the best.
Well, you might be right. I'm going to take Caleb Williams head-to-head over Drake May. Diesel says Drake May. I say Caleb Williams. What do you say? 71307. Again, when you send that text, just start it with fan. That way we can see it. Also, let us know on the stream what you think it's time for. Here we go, Diesel. This one's going to be spicy and dicey, as I like to call it. Cop out to live for the guaranteed bag and no pressure to play, or option 2, stay on PGA and get curb stomped by Tiger every week, living under his shadow. That's a great one. What do you say?
Yeah, this one came from Madcraft. He's setting this in the early 2000s. You're an up-and-coming player on the PGA Tour. Would you rather cop out to live and go get the guaranteed bag? I would rather stay on the PGA and be able to witness greatness week in and week out. Live under his shadow. Because you know why? Second place in every tournament still pays an awful lot of money. And my conscience is worth more than that to me. I wouldn't have taken the money, especially because, well, 9/11 would have just happened.
Sure.
And I'm not taking any Saudi money directly after 9/11. But if we're pretending that we're 20 years past 9/11, even at that point, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have taken the live money. It feels like a lesser brand of golf by the fact that we don't really talk about LIV on this show. We don't talk about LIV in a lot of American sports. It's just that other league.
You know what? I have to disagree. I do not want to be under that shadow. That is a tough shadow to be under. Really tough.
See, I don't look at it as a shadow. I look at
You don't think so?
Tiger Woods was the sun shining light on everybody else.
That's good. Okay. I like it. What do you think? 71307.
LIV is the tour that's in the shadow because nobody realizes that. Can you tell me where LIV is playing this week? Can you tell me where LIV played last week?
No.
Yeah, you're throwing a dart at a map. I understand that. I figured out what you were doing there. Yeah, no, you can't.
I cannot.
Because nobody cares. The only people who care are the ones who want to make this political and want to prove a point.
All right. The last round, the final round. Get your thoughts in. Who's the winners? Who is the losers? Who are you siding with today? All right, final round. We hinted at this earlier in the show, Diesel. We'll bring it back. We'll bring it back for the 5 o'clock fight. I love this one. Who will have a longer NFL career? Will Shipley or Spencer Rattler? What does Diesel say?
Oh, that's an easy one. It's going to be Will Shipley because Spencer Rattler will be in the UFL 3 years from now.
Diesel. Yeah. No, you didn't.
I'm saying it. No, we're not talking about better career, right? We're not talking about elite careers. I don't think either one of these two are going to have an elite career unless they just so happen to go to the best possible situation for them. And that's lucky if they get it. I think Will Shipley is that type of dude who's good enough that he'll stay on a roster for like 5 seasons, 6 seasons.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't ever see him as being that GOAT level player. I don't see him as being an RB1 for anybody. But for that reason, I think he won't be asked to do a lot. Sure. I think his body won't get beaten up, and ultimately he'll be on a roster longer than Spencer Rattler.
Ooh, what a good question. You know what? I've never defended Spencer Rattler in public. Never thought I would, but I'm going to today, Diesel. I think Spencer Rattler, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think Spencer Rattler has a better NFL career. I really do. I think that Spencer Rattler has the
debate is longer career.
The longer career. I really do. I think that he has the longer career, and I think that if he can end up in a situation that's halfway decent, I think he will. I think he could be a guy in the NFL that 8 years from now Spencer Rattler's getting a chance. I hope he does, and I think he will.
All right, that is the 5 o'clock fight. You tell us 71307 who won each round, who won the fight overall. You get to decide, and you also get to suggest our next fight. Yeah, that was a fascinating fight from Madcraft. He said he saw this somewhere else in terms of Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
Like, would you rather play on the PGA Tour and just get your ass beat by Scotty Scheffler week in and week out? But he said, you know what, let's shift this back to the early 2000s and make it about Tiger because, well, Tiger is better than Scotty Scheffler.
That's a good 5 o'clock fight, though. Well done, Madcraft.
It was. Tiger was the reason why all these golfers are making the money that they're making now.
Yeah.
And do you really want to sign up for an also-ran league? I know you're making a ton of money. I know you're making a lot of money over at LIV, but you're making a lot of money to do something that no one cares about.
No, I hear you. I don't necessarily disagree with you there. It's definitely not. You're right. I mean, who knows where they're playing?
I've never been at a bar and heard golf bros, and there's a bar that I go to a lot that has one of those Golden Tee video games in it.
Yeah.
And there's always like golf bros that stand around and play Golden Tee.
Mm-hmm.
I've never once heard them debating
Live.
the Live Tour. Never once heard that.
You know what? You probably won't ever.
Yeah, it's where careers go to die.
I think they get paid a lot.
The only thing I'm scared of, though, Cole, is that eventually players will use it as a way, like the way that college players use the transfer portal and NIL. They'll just use it to bounce back and forth.
Oh, no.
They'll be on the PGA for a while. They'll do exactly what this question asks. They'll sit there at world number 20, number 15, something like that, never really be able to challenge Scotty Scheffler because he's just one of those generational talents and consistent elite level golfers.
I hope that's not true.
And they'll go bounce over to Live for a couple of years. I mean, do you not see Bryson DeChambeau or John Rahm or some of those guys coming back?
They could.
PGA. And the PGA will take them because, good God, they need their stars back.
Sure. 844-326-3663 is the way that you can get in touch with the show. JD wants to chime in. What's up, man?
Hey, gentlemen, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to get in on the 5 o'clock fight. I'm going to say that Cole wins today because Diesel, just because Spencer Rattler might end up in the UFL or whatever it may be, he said the longer career. So maybe Spencer Rattler plays for like 20 years in the UFL.
The debate, JD, who will have the longer NFL career?
Oh, he did say NFL. Okay, so I did miss where he said NFL career. But I will say this. I do think you're wrong about the Spencer Rattler thing. I think he's going to be a steal in the draft. I'm telling you, just arm talent. I mean, he was a number 1 QB prospect for a reason. Granted, he didn't end up having the greatest college career. It started out great at Oklahoma until Mr. Caleb Williams come along. So that's a different story. But I think Spencer Rattler is a hidden gem in this draft. If he goes in the right situation, I really do think that he might have a better career than most of the quarterbacks selected in this draft.
You're not saying that, JD, just because you happen to be a Gamecock fan, are you?
No. You know me. I can be objective from time to time.
Let me ask you this, though. Daniel Jeremiah has Rattler as the 7th best quarterback. You like that or no?
7th best. I mean, as far as what everybody's saying, yes. I would, as far as what he turns out to be and where he gets drafted, where he goes, the situation he turns out to be in, I think he could end up being as high as like the 4th best. I mean, I don't want to write off Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels and Drake May. I won't write those guys off to say they won't have a good NFL career.
Sure.
But I will say I do think Spencer Rattler ends up with a solid NFL career at the end of the day.
I don't disagree.
He's going to be a hell of a scout team quarterback, JD.
Hey, he could. Hey, carrying a clipboard, making money, man.
Charlie Whitehurst made a lot of money doing that.
That's true.
Hey, backup quarterback, the best gig in the NFL. And Diesel, you mentioned the roasting thing earlier, so I wanted to get my roast in for you real quick, bro. What in the world are you doing in that picture with the Heisman pose? You were just way too far on that one, man. You got to tone it back a little bit. Have a good one. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, JD. 844 fan phone.
So he's questioning my decision making.
I think that was my idea. Remember,
Was it?
I don't know. No, I like it. I like the Heisman.
Hey,
pose.
I wanted to hold a regular size baseball bat and have you hold a mini baseball bat to make a
you did.
Know what joke.
That is true.
But you said no.
I know. I think that picture got thrown away.
Yeah.
I think that picture got deleted off the hard drive.
No, we didn't even take it because you would.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, you
Are you sure?
You said, no, man, I don't want to do that one.
No, I did not say that. Texter says JD is a moron. South Carolina fans.
You know what we should do, Cole? I thought about this a while back. I thought that we should make our Tolos, when they call in, we should make them declare their allegiance and what team they are a hater of anytime they call.
Well, the good thing is in South Carolina, most of the time we can tell, right?
Well, yeah. So it would be JD calling in saying Gamecock fan, Tiger hater.
Oh, wow. We have a lot of text to get to. A lot of interaction on the 5 o'clock fight, Diesel. One texter says, fan, Cole 1 and 2, Diesel 3, says Gordon. We appreciate you including.
Gordon, you've been hating on me all week, bro.
Ooh.
What's
little
going
beef
on?
between Diesel and Gordon.
What's going on, Gordon?
Tyler.
Gordon.
I love that. TGMRIG. Can I read that or no?
Yeah, we read all texts on this show. TGMRIG.
If it's FCC.
Thank good. We read it as it's written.
Yeah, thanks for saying God.
Good. Mark Ryan is gone.
All right, that's one text. Another text says Spencer Rattler will have a much longer career because backup quarterbacks and third-string quarterbacks stay in the league for 10-plus years because. I have to click the text. Because. ... Let me scroll up.
It gets paid so little. A running back's career is much shorter, especially somebody who will probably be on special teams.
Ooh. JT and Greer says.
Calling Will Shipley special.
Ooh, that's that special team, special place.
Special players.
God, you got it this time. Remember the other day at the party, you didn't get my sketch reference.
I didn't. What?
You got it that time though. You just said it. You just said it.
I don't even know what that's from.
No, you do. You just completed the phrase.
I genuinely don't know what that's from.
Well, you just completed the phrase. I'm so happy.
It was just a logical thing. Logical conclusion.
You just said that, and you don't know what it.
No, I don't have.
That's the actual phrase.
Key and Peele?
No, that's the actual phrase from sketch.
What sketch? What are you talking
Diesel
about? Is this one of your TikTok sketches?
No, me and who was the guy at Rob's house the other day? You and I were talking about it, and him and I were the only ones.
Doing a Who's On First?
You didn't. Rob Brown didn't know who sketch was.
No, I don't know who that is.
Wesley Roberts says, "What's up, brother?" Thank you, Wesley. He knows. He knows.
So the texter that said JD is a moron. We got a response to that text. That
says,
gosh. JD is a moron? ? Identify yourself. You don't want this smoke. Texter says Cole wins rounds 1 and 2. Oh, this is from Gordon again. So Gordon's doubling down. Gordon, I already got your trash talk, man.
Oh, man.
We already read that one.
Enough's
You're trying
enough.
to get it out there again, okay? Madcraft says Cole with the sweep. JT in Greer says Cole is right. It's Spencer Rattler.
The one below it's great.
Drake May, PGA rules. Drake May, PGA rules. Shipley. Diesel kicks Cole's ass.
And we did not learn pronunciate or commas
no, that was a tough one to read. Texter.
That was tough.
Use context clues there. Let's see here. JT and Greer says, I say neither Caleb Williams or Drake May. Well, it's neither nor JT and Greer. Okay.
Neither nor.
It's either or, neither nor.
Either or, neither nor. Well, now tell me.
Is
that okay? Gotcha.
Grammatically correct.
Man. No Caleb Williams or Drake May? You wouldn't take either one?
Who would you take then, Texter? Who is that?
JT Daniels,
that
maybe. JT would take JT. Jaden Daniels. JD. Remember?
Yeah.
JD. I do like
confused because we got JD and Greer.
That's true.
JD in Simpsonville, JT and Greer.
I do like Jaden Daniels. Spartanburg region. I don't think that takes us for us. Spartanburg Regional Hospital is limiting. No, wrong. Okay. JD said, who said I'm a moron? Let's go. Hugs or punches. It's pretty bad when I'm over here reading texts that are for the wrong station, I guess. Yeah, you got to start it with fan, right?
It happened. Yeah. So that's why we remind you
to start it.
You also have to filter out the WORD text message.
Oh,
you must not be on the info tab.
I am.
You are?
Yeah, I see something about Spartanburg Regional Hospital limiting TikTok on their Wi-Fi.
What are we going to do?
I did see, did you see yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, Diesel, and I know you're not a big TikTok user like I am.
I'm not a TikTok user at all.
Okay, so you're not.
When you open up TikTok, is there a little window in the corner that pops up? Somebody named Ling Ling, like, hey, Cole.
No, they already have my information.
Hi, Cole.
They already have it all. They already have it.
Oh, it's America. He's on his TikTok again.
They already.
Oh, must watch, must spy.
You know what's funny about that? These phones are made in China. They already have our information. Might as well just use TikTok.
When they come into the country, Joe Biden scans all of them to make sure that they have no software, no bloatware, no nothing on them.
Anyways, yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, he said that he heard from a reliable source that TikTok in the coming days, months, is going to be sold and maybe zipped, donezo.
Ooh, I don't know if that's smart business there to buy something that expensive and then shut it down. I mean,
I'm saying that I don't know if there's some kind of law or not law, but
revamp it, change it into something else, or not change it. Just get all the Chinese influence out of there.
Hey, by the way, in case you missed it, I want to make a programming note here, Diesel. I saw a tweet that just reminded me. David Newton, if you just tuned in and missed that interview an hour ago now?
It's a fantastic interview.
Fantastic. We'll have it for you again in the 6 o'clock hour. But give David a follow on Twitter at DNewtonESPN. He was at the I don't know if it's practice, whatever they had today, OTAs. He was there and has some really good tweets and information. Really good interview, as Diesel said. Man, that first question, Diesel, right out of the gate.
Big one. Big one. That was a big drop.
You and I said, we've said that we kind of think they should keep both picks.
Yeah. Well, we ran through the scenarios. You asked David Newton what they were going to do with their 2 second-round picks.
Sure.
And he revealed, well, should we tell him now or should we make him wait until
Let's wait.
6 o'clock when we replay the interview?
Yeah,
we are going to replay this interview at 6 o'clock. And you can find out what David Newton believes the Carolina Panthers will do with inside knowledge, what they will do with pick number 39. He seems to believe that he has some concrete evidence, concrete suggestion of what might happen with that pick. When we come back, Cole, why are we seeing so many people bitching and moaning about the referees in sports now?
Because they suck.
Well, yeah, that's a given. But it used to be like it happened, you let it go, you played on. Now it's like everything has to be questioned up the wazoo. What happened? Why are we talking about this? We'll get to that next here on Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson. I'm Diesel. This is The Fan Upstate. How is it, Cole, that we have implemented supposedly better officiating systems in all sports? Meaning you've got the officials on the court, right?
Yeah.
But then every league has a league office watching the games, overseeing the referees, but we've got more people complaining than ever.
Yeah.
Coaches, players, fans about the referees and the officiating in all sports. Like, don't you find that interesting and odd that the more refereeing we have, the worse people perceive it to be and the more they complain about it?
It's never going to be fixed, though, with humans. That's my worry, you know?
Well, like how do you do robo umps in NBA, right? Like,
yeah, I
that
guess
would
you
take
can.
That would take some extreme analytical computing power to, first of all, to have a robot that runs up and down a Roomba that's going side to side, scanning everything, looking for fouls, and then saying, that's a foul.
Yeah, you can't. Wouldn't happen. I don't think
do that.
No, I just think that, like, I feel as if sometimes the officials, even though they're well trained, even though they may be the best on the planet, I think, Diesel, that the biggest complaint is that it seems as if, for whatever reason, that these terrible calls happen when games are on the line. And a lot of it has to do with, like, when a basketball game or a football game or a baseball game is in the closing moments, things are intense. On a basketball court, it's more intense than any other sport, maybe other than hockey, because, you've got 10 guys and things get intense, like last night's Philly game.
Yeah, I do want, part of it, there are millions of analysts watching on TV and can tweet at any time. I didn't like this call. I didn't like that call. So that, their calls are more under question than they've ever been.
They are.
Maybe not more questioned, but
more seen.
But people are able to voice their displeasure in a way that they were never able to do before social media. I don't have a ton of problem with maybe a ref missing a call here or there. I just have a problem with refs who really affect the flow of the game late. When you're talking about a basketball game that has flowed pretty well through the first 30 minutes, if you're talking about a college basketball game, the first half went fine. The first half of the second half flowed well, and then the last 10 minutes of the game, man, they just dragged this thing out. I hate when they change the flow and the timing of the game with refereeing.
So that brings
us to what happened last night in Philly.
It does. And I was going to say real quick, it brings up the question of what happened last night in Philly, but the whole debate is, Diesel, from a referee standpoint, do you stick to the book in the closing moments?
You always stick to the book.
Or do you sometimes allow, like, what was it, the college tournament a couple of weeks ago when we had the big call on the screen, on the moving screen in the women's game, I believe, with Iowa. And you always hear people say, well, they shouldn't let the game in like that. Like, if you don't call it early in the game, don't call it late.
Why?
I know.
So you're telling me, so these people, are these people telling me that, okay, at after 9:30 at night, you should be able to drive 75 in a 45 zone because, well, the rules shouldn't apply differently at different times, No,
I agree with
apply differently at different times. So once it's past midnight, I get to do 100 on I-85.
No, it doesn't make sense.
It can't, and it shouldn't ever work that way. I hate that argument. Oh, this is the playoffs. Oh, this is a tournament game. You can't make that call in a tournament game. Well, if it's the rules, you sure as hell can.
I just think that for whatever reason, when we get toward the end of the season, when we get toward the end of a game, Diesel, these calls are magnified. Sure. The 76ers last night, after what happened with Tyrese Maxey no call, they plan to file a grievance with the NBA over the officiating across the first two games of the series against the Knicks. It does seem ironic that they're down 0-2 and they're wanting to file that grievance, right? And then last night, Nuggets-Lakers. It happened again in the last game of the night. In my opinion, not a good night for officials last night. And again, to your point, Diesel, you can't change the way you call a game. But I don't know why it's magnified, but I'll tell you this. The stars, the Joel Embiids, the LeBron James are not happy. Here's what LeBron said last night after the incident in Denver.
I don't understand what's going on in the replay center, to be honest. I said it. I think I said it this year or last year, whatever. D'Lo clearly gets hit in the face on the drive. What the fuck do we have a replay center if it's going to go? It doesn't make sense to me. It makes no sense to me. It bothers me. Sorry I didn't answer your question, but that shit is like. And then I just saw what happened with the.
All right, we're killing the audio.
Thanks, LeBron.
LeBron made us kill the audio there.
Jeez, LeBron.
So his point before the curse words were dropped. Why do we have a replay center?
Who's shocked, by the way, that LeBron James is crying about the officials?
Well, that's a good point.
Mr. LeBron James, who's gotten every call every time his entire career.
Oh,
you
yeah.
breathe on him the wrong way, he gets a foul call.
So
hey, come on.
I do agree with this, though, Diesel, and I want to get your opinion. The replay center in the NBA, same thing with NFL and NBA, MLB. If we have the replay center, don't you agree that we shouldn't be in a position like we are where we're having to talk about this if we have a replay center?
Well, first of all, the replay center can't buzz in and call a foul on a play that happened 2 plays ago, right? They have to let the officials on the field or on the court make the calls in real time. I'm sure that I'm sure they have high-speed internet, and I'm sure they're watching things in virtual real time. But do we really want a big red buzzer in the sky? Coming, and like they're playing the game, and then all of a sudden, bink, bright red light comes on. Somebody at the command center saw a foul that the referees on the court didn't call. And if that's the case, why do we have referees on the court at all?
That's true.
I mean, if those referees at the command center can also waive off any call that a ref makes on the court, why do we have refs on the court? Like, why don't we just have the quote unquote gurus, the best in the command center watching all these games?
Madcraft makes a good point. I just want consistency. You shouldn't be calling the game different in the first and fourth quarters. We had a LeBron James audio that we had to dump, but have you ever did we ever think that the referee and the officials, Diesel, would get so bad? And again, you can have your opinion on LeBron complaining about calls because there is some truth to that. But we just had a dump audio, LeBron, not just mad, PO'd. Is it going to get to the point where LeBron, Joel Embiid are having press conferences like this where they are dropping serious language and they're mad enough that something will actually change one day? Or do you think we'll still be in this boat? Because I don't know that anything will change.
I am the same age as LeBron James. I should love LeBron James. And when I was 22 years old and he was, taking the Cavs to the finals, I loved LeBron James.
Yeah.
But aging LeBron James is kind of doing to his legacy what Cam Newton did to his legacy late in his career. He is ruining his legacy by bitching and moaning and complaining about everything all the time. Maybe you're just not good enough anymore. And I'm saying that about your team, right? Maybe your team just isn't good enough anymore. Why don't you play better?
Don't rip my heart apart like that, Diesel. Don't rip my heart apart.
I mean, dude, it's the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah.
He cries foul so much, and for the majority of his career, he's gotten those calls. And that's a very valid criticism of LeBron.
He was ticked. I mean, that audio,
clearly.
Wow. I've never heard him that mad in a post-game press conference.
So the 76ers are filing this grievance, claiming that they have been, quote, disadvantaged more than any other team. How are you going to prove that? How are you going to prove that? Sometimes teams just don't foul as much as other teams. Sometimes they're just better at playing clean defense than other teams. Not that anybody in the NBA really plays defense anyway.
You know what I always said to coaches? I refereed high school for a few years, basketball, Diesel. I always said coaches, when they'd come up to you and they'd say, hey, you've got 7 fouls over there, but 0 over here, right? The numbers are uneven. I'd say, well, quit fouling. That was my answer. Quit fouling. You don't like it. Quit fouling. They're not fouling. You are.
And some coaches coach their players to play hard.
Sure.
And fouls are just going to be a part of that.
All right. Coming up next, I want to do a little switcheroo, Diesel, on the next topic, and I want to do the 620 topic here, and we'll push the NBA conversation to later on in the program because we did just talk NBA in this segment. What was said on Columbia Radio airwaves yesterday that you are going to have some thoughts on next? He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson, and this is the Fan Upstate. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. It is Wire to Wire, your newest afternoon drive show in the Upstate. We appreciate you being a part of Wire to Wire, and I want to bring up a text message that I got yesterday morning. Diesel, are you ready for this? I hope you're sitting down. You are sitting down because I'm looking across from you. But this is not a joke. This is not me making something up to create good radio. Yesterday morning, I got a text message. It was early in the morning, so it's morning drive. So this was at 6:17 in the morning. There was a radio co-host in Columbia who, I'm not going to tell you what he did in his career because that might give it away. But he made a statement. This was Monday, yesterday morning, about the spring game on Saturday night. This statement is very intriguing, and it says, what I saw, again, this is real, what I saw from Lenora Sellers this past Saturday was the same poise we saw from guys like Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson. We have the next Cam Newton. And then he went on to give a Joe Burrow comparison. That statement, Diesel, was said on live radio yesterday morning. Can you believe that? I'm not making that up.
Wow.
You can
Wow.
You
Why
can
don't just
infer
throw Joe Montana out there while you're at
Tom Brady.
He's Tom Brady. He's better than Tom Brady. He's going to make you say, Tom who?
Can you believe that?
Look,
And somebody was being serious is the worst part.
That can't be serious.
From a spring game.
That can't be serious.
The radio co-host in Columbia. He played for the Gamecocks. Played in the NFL, Diesel.
I mean, I guess there's a place for homers everywhere, right? Like there are the people, and they're not Tolos because the Tolos love the facts, right?
Sure.
But there are people out there who just love hammy homer radio. And like, hey, that's the beautiful part, I guess, about the internet is you can find exactly what it is you're looking for at any time.
Yeah.
You can find the person that will tell you that everything you believe is true. Like there's a scene, Cole, in a show called Barry. Did you watch Barry?
No. Sure not.
It's like a dark comedy that came out a couple years ago. Bill Hader, who was on SNL for years, was the main character. And he was a killer through the first like 2 seasons.
Okay.
And then by season 3, he's changed his ways, right? He's not that guy anymore. So he's really, really angry at somebody and wants to find justification to go do it. So he's his character in this particular scene is a reformed man. He's now a Christian. He goes and starts listening to all of these podcasts, trying to find the exact one that will tell him, yep, Jesus said it's okay, go do it. Like he listens to like 5.
Just to find what he's looking for.
Yeah, there's like one that says it's a sin, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
He's like, nope, don't like that one. And then he finds one progressively that's a little more leaning his direction. Well, you know, like there's if you're a soldier and you do it in war, then like it's not great, but it's not that bad. No, don't like that one. And then he finds one that says, well, in this one really obscure Bible verse, Jesus said this. That's the one, and he goes right inside and kills the guy.
Oh,
so like, the point is, you can find exactly what it is you're looking for on the radio at any given time. So, like, yeah, if you're looking for somebody to tell you that Lenora Sellers is the second coming of Cam Newton, you found your guy.
Well,
you found your Huckleberry.
You know, I guess you're right in the sense of flagship stations like, you know, flagship stations at the end of the day, they want to pump their audience up in such a way that they feel like they're going to get the response that they want. They want to pump life into their fan base. And I understand it. I get it. However,
that is a very great strategy.
Yeah.
It's a very effective strategy when it comes to, I want to build my social media following. I'm just going to tell the hardcore fans exactly what they want to hear so that they'll all find and follow me.
I would not say that you can watch a spring game, a glorified practice with limited reps and limited play calling, limited creativity,
Limited reality.
yes, and say the following statement. What I saw from Lenora Sellers this past Saturday was the same poise we saw from guys like Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson. We have the next Cam Newton, and then goes on to make a Joe Burrow comparison. I'm not sure that whether you played for South Carolina or not, whether you played in the NFL or not, again, I didn't either. So I'm not saying that I know more or know better than this person that made this statement. I'm just saying that sometimes we take things too far and sometimes we overreact. This would be that to the 100th degree. You cannot say that a spring game showed you enough that you feel like you have the next Cam Newton. That right there is just bogus.
Madcraft says, dude just name dropped a list of the Avengers and said, yep, I see that from him.
Yeah, that's what he did. That's what he did.
And Mongo, you're trying to bargain here. Mongo says, in all fairness, he, Lenora Sellers, was compared to Cam when he was in high school. Mongo, we have no reason to believe that play-by-play host was aware of that. He just made the comparison, probably all on his own.
JT and Greer says every flagship station is a Homer station. Another text says, with that comparison, they must think Arch Manning will be better than Peyton. I'm all for believing in something, Diesel, and I'm all for having a take that may be outlandish as long as you believe it. But my problem is when you watch the spring game Saturday, the Garnet and Black game, what shows you that Lenore Sellers, the opening drive going 4 for 4 and then scrambling for a touchdown, what shows you that your quarterback is able to be even in the same sentence as a Cam Newton? Because here's the deal.
You're comparing a spring game to an entire career.
The deal is you have to do something in the regular season. You have to do something in the SEC. You have to be somebody to be compared to guys like Cam Newton, Joe Burrow, and Lenora Sellers. For whatever it's worth, for as good as he may be, he's not that guy yet. So making a comparison like that, come on.
Texter says, dude, I haven't heard any of the Clemson hosts compare Cade to Trevor Lawrence unless, quote, he's not Trevor Lawrence counts. Yeah, you can't. Good God. You cannot make that comparison. Not at this point. I mean, not even after one season.
No.
You can't do that.
That's embarrassing.
It is.
I can't believe people have the nerve.
And people wonder why. People wonder why. The Homer accounts have these huge followings.
Yeah,
because you can follow 10 of them, and they'll all tell you what you want to hear.
That's true. I mean, you're right in the sense of, look, they're going to pump you up. I'll say this. This is no disrespect to anybody, but Diesel, I have a very different opinion and view rather than the Clemson beat writers and also rather than the South Carolina beat writers. I'm someone in the middle from a radio station that's in the middle, right? I go and cover Clemson and I think, oh my goodness, these Clemson beat writers suck up the Dabo like there's no tomorrow. I go cover South Carolina. I think the same thing. These South Carolina beat writers, they suck up to Shane like there's no tomorrow. So I guess that's part of being on the beat, being the flagship station, is when you sign your agreement to work there, you have to agree that you're going to say outlandish things and pump your coach up regardless. Even if he's not good, you still got to pump him up. You still got to make him look good. I just think it's ridiculous.
Let's see here. Texter says, keep my quarterback's name out of your mouth. He is coming of Christ. Do you mean he's the second coming? Is that what you mean, Texter? Texter says, I recall listening to, we're not going to go there, Texter. Mongo says, Dabo compared Cade to Deshaun. You can look it up. Well, Mongo, you look it up. You look it up. You don't give us don't just give us a nugget and say,
he said, I already looked it up.
Go look it up. No, Mongo, you look it up.
What are we looking up?
Send us a link. Apparently Dabo compared Cade Klubnik to Deshaun. I'm not saying he didn't.
Oh.
I just have no proof that he did. And I have to see proof before I continue down that path. When we come back, Cole, we will replay our fantastic, our groundbreaking, our internet busting clip interview with David Newton from earlier in the show, where he tells you exactly what the Carolina Panthers plan to do with the 39th overall pick. That's next here on Wire to Wire, 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg. We are the Fan Upstate.
days as you were watching the ESPN pregame show leading up. They do cutaways to David all the time. And Diesel, I tell you what, number one, we've had some incredible guests on already, but David Newton, man, I don't know that there's anybody more plugged in. He's fantastic.
Well, he's only been covering the team for what, 20 years?
It's true. Fair point.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he knows everybody inside that building. He knows the athletic training staff. He knows the cleaning crew. He knows everybody in that building.
Yes. And you know what, man? Like, so much to get to from that interview, number one. But I tell you, man, just listening to David talk about what the Carolina Panthers could do, a couple of things stood out. I want to get your opinion on what he said with trading. But, I asked him about the offseason. He said C plus, B minus. You asked him about Clemson player. Could be the year. They might want to take Wiggins.
I asked him about Austin Corbett, and he says, I'm not sure that they're going to move him off a center position so soon.
I don't know about that.
Maybe keep Austin Corbett. I mean, I
don't love that's what I'm saying, right?
I could see Austin Corbett maybe as the preseason center and then adding him into.
So
I'm like, I don't know that I love putting a guy in there who this isn't his chosen position.
Yeah, I'm with you. What do you think about what he said when it comes to them trading possibly one of the first picks? Because
that it seems dangerous to me.
It does, man.
Because right now, I mean, I know you need bodies. I know you need youth and depth at a lot of positions. So it depends on what you're able to trade back to. I mean, we talked about it a week or so ago.
Yeah.
We thought, what should they do with those two positions? Should they bundle them and try to get back into the first round? Should they stick with what they've got?
Yeah.
Or should they try to trade one or both of them back? And if they can get a late third rounder, 2 late third rounders for it. I mean, you've already got your early fourth rounder, right? I mean,
sure.
I'd have to look and see exactly what the Panthers have.
Sure.
But if you've got your early fourth rounder, just to get one more body in there, you would trade back so you could have a early first, mid to late third, early fourth. I mean, I don't see the point in doing that.
He seemed as if he believed that there's a good possibility, right?
He was fairly confident in that.
And we'll continue to talk about that, the Panthers, whether they should stay or whether they should trade, leading all the way up into the draft. Rob Brown's going to be on with us 5 to 7 on Thursday. So we'll get his opinion on that as well. We're going to have a big draft day special at Dave & Buster's, as we've talked about several times. We hope you can join us. But, man, I'll say this. I think, to your point, Diesel, David has as good of a pulse on that organization as anyone. But I'm not sure that I'm sold on the whole, they had a good offseason.
This feels like, going back to the moving back from 39, this feels like Dave Tepper's involvement.
Yeah.
It feels like trying to get cute, trying to make more happen than what you just stick to what you've got. The offseason wasn't bad. I mean, they got some talent on the offensive line, some depth on the offensive, some veteran depth on the offensive line. They got some veteran, depth on defense. Clowney's a good story. Let's see how much he has left in the tank.
He stays healthy.
Really?
Matt Kraft asked a good question, Diesel. What's the average career success of an early second rounder versus a third rounder? Is there that much difference? I mean,
probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so. You're not looking at you're looking at 20 picks off, 15 to 20 picks, just give or take in terms of where they could land. I don't know that there's a huge difference.
So I'm going to see if I can find anything, Matt. I know these numbers are out there. It's just, can I find them quickly? The bust rate on second and third round guys, the number of second and third round guys who become stars is usually pretty low. And, a successful pick there is somebody who can be a solid starter for you. A solid starter in the second round, I think, is success. A solid backup guy is probably third round success. But I do want to find some numbers for that, Matt, so that I'm not just talking out of my rear.
I want to replay just the answer of David Newton when I asked him about that first round, or excuse me, not the first round, but the first 2 picks that the Panthers have on Friday in the second round. In your estimation, Carolina Panthers obviously don't have a first-round pick, but should the Panthers stay, or do you think there's any movement that could be had come Friday?
Yeah, I do think that they'll trade one of their 2 second-round picks.
I'm going to pause it. He says, I do think that they will trade one of their 2 second-round picks. I'll play the rest of it in a second, and he goes on to talk about which one he thinks they'll trade. But again, I don't know. Maybe David could enlighten me, Diesel. I don't know the big difference between picking right there versus kind of like what Madcraft's saying, picking 15 picks
I don't
later.
think they'll trade into the first round. I think they want to pick up additional picks if they can on the second day, preferably. So I do think something like that could happen. So whether that's the 33rd pick or the 39th, I think one of those trades will move to probably pick up a extra third round pick and give them a little bit of more people to put around Bryce and to build this a more complete team. It all depends. I mean, if the right guy is there at 33, they'll probably go ahead and take him. But they'll have overnight, and I've written a story that's going to come out later in the week about how that pick's actually become pretty valuable these days because people have all night to kind of think about it, and they can, come up with offers, and it's actually been that your pick's been traded quite a bit since they went to a 3-day show instead of having the first and second round all in one day.
Did you hear what he said in the middle of that interview when he said, don't be surprised if they do get rid of the 33rd unless they feel like the guy that's there is the right guy? What that tells me, Diesel, is there's a good chance they could trade not the 39th but the 33rd, which makes no sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense unless, like he said, the guy that they feel like they really want is still going to be available. Let's say you can trade 33 back to pick up 42 and 59. I'm just making up numbers here that I think are in the second round. So if you think
and get an additional,
right. If you trade 33 back and you feel like the guy that you want, let's just say it's a Donnie Mitchell. He won't be available at 39. But let's just say you feel like a Donnie Mitchell will still be there at 39. You trade 33 back.
Yeah.
You take a Donnie Mitchell at 39.
Sure.
And then you say, ooh, guess what? We can get 42 and we can get 52. And we feel like we can still do very well with 42 and 52 and be okay.
I get it. I hear what you're saying. But do you as a GM and whoever's over their player personnel, I hear you. And I understand David's point of maybe being able to get 2 guys on the back end. But my opinion, Diesel, is don't you want quality as well? I get that you've got to have quantity. I understand that because like David said, they have a ton of holes. But the later in the draft that you go back, are you losing quality? Are you willing to sacrifice quality for quantity? Because I think you are. I think you're sacrificing quality for quantity if you do move back. The further you move back.
Yeah, I agree there. And they, what's the point of depth if all of your depth is mediocre?
Sure.
Right? I mean, other than just getting some more bodies to spread the reps around, and you think, okay, we'll be, if you've got your eye on somebody in particular in free agency, that's the only justification for that. So I do have some numbers here for Madcraft. He asked about hit rates and bust rates. So this is examining 5 years of rookie drafts, and it doesn't necessarily say what constitutes a hit in each round, but it says here that first round, the hit rate was 56%. So 34 of 60 were, I guess, quality starters within X number of years. In the second round, 20 of 60 were hits. That's 33%. Third round hit rate was 20%. Oddly enough, and I would need to read the justification of this. Oddly enough, they have the fourth round hitting at 28%. So in between second and third round hit rate. And then the fifth round was a hit rate of 15%. So it does drop off from 56 to 33 to 20 from first, second, and third round picks. So that's why I think it's really dangerous to move back to the fourth round if that's what they think they have to do. You know, you are really gambling by moving back to the fourth round to go after depth.
Brandon on the stream says, I don't think you're giving up quality in later rounds. Stats show some of the best came in later rounds. Brent Grimes was a later round draft pick, and he was fantastic for Atlanta. I'd say this, Brandon,
Well, the stats right there just told you that that's not true.
Well, listen.
The stats just told you that the hit rate drops off.
You're going
round by round by round by round.
You can find a gym.
Yeah, of course. You're going to still be able to mine those gyms every now and
But
again.
I don't want to rely on that.
Yeah, you can't use anecdotal evidence to outweigh statistics here.
It's risky. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what they
should
do.
do anything. I think they should stay right where they are.
The bad thing is, Diesel, we won't know on Thursday. Why?
That's true. They don't have a first round pick. Ugh. They don't have a first round pick.
Well, coming up next, we will look at last night's NBA games. What happened in the NBA just moments ago in terms of the officiating last night? The NBA has made a ruling on Tyrese Maxey and NBA games tonight. Your thoughts, 71307-844-FAN-PHONE. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson, and this is the Fan Upstate. All right. Tonight in the association, we have 3 games, and I like all 3 of them. I like all 3 matchups tonight. We will also look at what happened last night. Yesterday, Diesel, when we started talking NBA, all of a sudden we had a couple callers, a couple Tolos.
The people do care.
They want to talk NBA. You can talk NBA right now. Next few minutes, you can talk NBA. 844-FAN phone. That's 844-326-3663. Also, text line 71307. Excuse me. D did call earlier, one of our NBA fans, Diesel, and was letting us know, man, about his Nuggets. He was excited. Tonight, 7:30, Suns and Timberwolves. Minnesota is up 1-0, and they are favored once again. They're favored by 2.5 points tonight, hosting Phoenix. Milwaukee hosting Indiana tonight. Milwaukee favored by 1.5. They're up 1-0. And then I think the best game of the night, Diesel, once again, is the 10 o'clock game, which is stupid. You know how the West Coast gets preferential treatment out there. Clippers, Mavericks, 10 o'clock, TNT. We know what happened on Sunday. The Mavericks didn't show up. Luka didn't show up. Kyrie Irving did not show up. And it's a shame that this game is so late tonight because most of America that lives –
I'll be in bed.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Most of America on the East Coast will not be able to see it because it's 10 o'clock start. So I
Thanks,
think –
Adam Silver.
Yeah, exactly. They have to get preferential treatment on the West Coast. I'll say this tonight.
Have you ever seen Daniel Tosh's God Hates NFL Fans
I have not.
bit?
I have not. Do I need to?
Yeah, it's about early kickoffs on the East Coast and how people on the West Coast who are at church don't get to see early East Coast kickoffs, like 1 o'clock kickoffs, because they're in church.
Madcraft says, Cole says Milwaukee. Weird. Do I say Milwaukee weird?
Milwaukee.
How do you say it?
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee? Do I say it weird?
You draw out the Milwaukee.
Is it my accent?
I don't think it's weird.
Milwaukee?
Man. Now you're going to make him self-conscious, mad.
Milwaukee. I did put a little extra emphasis on that one.
Yeah, you're going to make him so. Don't do that.
Milwaukee.
By the way, happy draft week, Cole.
Happy draft week. Thanks for pointing that out. Brandon, yeah.
Brandon brought that up on the stream. Is draft week a holiday?
Needs
now?
to be. Needs to be.
Yeah.
I'll take a day off.
Can we get a day off for this?
I like tonight.
Would you rather have day 1 of the draft off or the day after day 1 of the draft off? So you could have a 4-day.
Oh, definitely Friday, because you can watch the draft and, get ready, move it up, make it during the daytime kind of thing, and let's take the day off. I like it. I'm
down for any opportunity to take a Friday off.
Absolutely. Madcraft, listen, all love. I'm just messing with you. I know I say a lot of things weird. I'm a redneck, right? That's what they tell me at least. All right, 3 games tonight. Phoenix, Minnesota. Minnesota's already up 1-0. I'm going to tell you who to take tonight and who to pick if you are making a friendly wager. I went 1-1 last night, Diesel. I did hit on the Cleveland Cavaliers money line, and I also bet on Denver minus 5.5, and they did not cover. The Lakers covered last night. So I was 1-for-1 last night. Tonight, I like the Phoenix Suns plus 2.5. That means if you don't know much about gambling, you want Phoenix to either win the game or keep it within 2 points. And I think Phoenix will do that tonight. I get Minnesota's on paper the better team. They're a really good team, but Kevin Durant's going to win 1 game. They're going to at least get 1 or 2. Those guys are too good with Devin Booker and KD not to get a game or 2. Brandon says, Cole, I think Minnesota wins it in 5 over Phoenix. So Brandon only has Phoenix winning 1 game, which would really surprise me. I think they should win at least 2 games. You have supposedly one of the best scorers ever in Kevin Durant. You should win 1 or 2 games against Minnesota, even though they are a good team. Pacers, Bucks, Diesel, Milwaukee is a 1.5-point favorite. I'll tell you this.
It's pronounced Milwaukee. Which in Algonquin
I like that better, man.
Land.
I like that a lot better.
It's from Wayne's World, another movie you've never seen.
Another movie. How do you know?
Have you ever seen Wayne's World?
No, I haven't. Giannis back tonight. should be a big help for the Bucks. What a game Damian Lillard had the other day against Indiana. I believe Milwaukee goes up 2-0 tonight. And then when it comes to Dallas, LA, this one's in LA. Again, the Clippers are favored by 1.5. Dallas has got to figure out how to play interior defense, something that they did not do on Sunday. LA absolutely ate Dallas up in the paint. So if Dallas wants to have a chance in this series, they've got to figure out how to play some defense in the paint. They've got to figure out how to not allow LA to get so many good freaking looks at the rim like they did on Sunday. Luka's got to show up. Luka's got to set the tone early. Falling behind by 20 is embarrassing. You don't want to wait until you get to your home court and you're down 0-2 to start doing something. You need to win one on the road. You're good enough to win one on the road, and tonight's make or break. Listen, I really believe it. Tonight is make or break for the Dallas Mavericks. And one other quick note, Diesel. You and I were talking about Tyrese Maxey and the referees earlier. NBA rules just 23 minutes ago that Tyrese Maxey, now that they've had time to review it, that Tyrese Maxey was fouled twice during the chaotic Game 2 sequence versus the Knicks. Does that change your opinion? Should the referees have accountability now?
Well, after the games, yeah. I mean, like, what do you do, though? I mean, you pull.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think the only thing you can do is pull them off games, right? You need to have a rating system over the course of a season.
Sure.
Of who are the most accurate, and then, plan accordingly and put those guys on games that really matter.
Yeah.
That's all you can do, I think. There's not a whole lot of, what are we going to do? Fine them? What are you going to do?
No. I just wish there was some kind of, coaches are held accountable. Players are held accountable. I just wish that there was some sort of.
I mean, they would be held accountable if it's deemed that they are consistently the lowest rated. They're not working anymore. Their season is done.
Sure.
Right? I mean, I would have to assume that the pay scale goes up. You, as a referee, just because you want to be the best at your profession, you want to be refereeing, playoff and finals games.
You do.
And also, if you're not I have to assume that there's a sliding pay scale that as you call those games, you get paid more money to do it.
Sure.
Right? So it would behoove you to be as good as you could possibly be so that you can keep getting paid to go do your job.
You would think so. Madcraft says, I think Dallas had an off night, but Kawhi didn't even play right. That's correct. Kawhi didn't play. Brendan says, Cole, I think the Knicks could surprise everyone this year. Another text says that this team is stupid. Kawhi, George, Harden, Westbrook. Yeah, they have a lot of talent. They ought to be able to win a series or two. All right, Diesel, it's time to wrap this thing up, man.
Yeah, we're going to do it next. Going to get you caught up with your daily wires, the buzz that's going on out there in the sports world, and we'll give you one more chance to for the day to bury it in your brain of when you can see us this week. That's coming up next here on Wire to Wire. Man, I just want to dance every time I hear this bed.
I fixed the long 18-second gap, by the way. It just goes out.
Coming to a close here on our what number show is this, Cole? 22nd Wire to Wire.
Wow.
Believe it or not, man, we're gonna hit 100 before you realize it.
What if are we gonna still keep up like on this like 704?
I hope we have that long of a career.
Well, that's only what, 4 years?
700 shows. Yeah, this is great radio, guys. 700 shows divided by 5 shows a week.
Calculator, please.
That's 140 weeks.
So that's 2 years?
Divided by 52 weeks a year. That's only 2.7 years.
Yeah.
Now, that's if we never take vacations.
Sure.
And I don't know about you, Cole, but I like taking vacations.
No, I do too.
That's just me. That's just me personally. I don't know about you. I don't know if you have a life, anything you like to do.
Sadly, sometimes I feel like I don't.
So what's going on out there with the Buzz? Well, a 4-goal third period pushes the Carolina Hurricanes past the Islanders 5-3 last night. They take a 2-0 series lead. It looked a little dicey there.
What an insane game.
It looked dicey for the Hurricanes down the stretch. I mean, the Islanders scored 2 early in the first period.
Yeah.
And it felt like, man, they're just kind of cruised to a victory here.
They did.
But the Hurricanes scored 4 in the final 9.5 minutes of the game. They scored 3 in the final 2.5 minutes of the game. Cole, here's what the game tying goal sounded like. This one came off the stick of Jordan Martinook to tie the game 3-3.
And a face-off win for the Islanders. 6-on-5 with the empty net at the other end. Svechnikov, another block shot. Burns in the corner to Jarvis. Full-timer score! We're tied!
Yeah, the crazy thing is the Hurricanes should have scored probably 3 more goals in that game, and they were all over the pipes in that game. I mean, they were clanging off the pipes constantly in that game.
I had my YouTube TV set as soon as I got home to 4 different games. I opened the app.
I am jealous of that. That's the one thing I love about YouTube TV that I don't have.
Well, I had 2 hockey games at the top and 2 NBA games at the bottom.
Love it.
And it was great, man. I'll be honest with you. When they went up 3-0, I said, oh, man, Hurricanes are going to drop one. There's no way they're going to come back down 3-0. And they did.
And then Sebastian Aho does this to take the 4-3 lead. Oh, hang on. Wrong window. Here we go.
Brewery enters the zone. Plays it in deep for Carolina. Loose.
Nothing like playoff hockey, man.
I love that.
There's absolutely
that
nothing
horn.
like playoff hockey. Brrr.
That's great.
Wish we had that in Greenville. Atlanta beat Miami last night 3-0 to improve to 15-6 on the season. But the Phillies, Cole, are right there on their tail. Philadelphia playing really hot baseball right now.
They're trailing them, man. And that's the thing. This is a wild, wild season. Yeah, you want to win the division, but Philly's playing good ball. So I guess the race right now is who peaks first, who, kind of just hits that
Just
climax.
making the playoffs needs to be the goal here. We saw it last year with the Braves falling off when they weren't playing meaningful baseball down the stretch, in the wild card. Or they had the, not the wild card, but they had the bye.
Yeah.
So I certainly you want to win as many games as you possibly can, right?
Sure.
And it's probably dangerous to try to game the system and get down to the stretch, get down to the final 20 games or so and see, if we just throw a couple of games here, then we will, potentially have, a road where we're not taking time off. From playing meaningful. I don't think that's a smart play, but we have seen in Major League Baseball over the past couple of years since this new playoff format, we have seen a lot of the best teams go down because they are rusty.
You say that you want to win the games. And yes, you want to win the games, but I will fight to my death and say that winning is great. We want to win 100 games, but Braves fans have learned that even though winning 100 games feels wonderful, you're the best regular season team, it does not correlate at all. And maybe it's the bye, maybe it's the break you have when you're not playing in the wild card. For whatever reason, the last few years, the team that's played in the wild card has played better than the division winner.
I don't think you never try intentionally to tank games so that you maybe don't get the bye. What you do though is down the stretch over the last 75 games or so, you start pulling up some guys from AAA. So you rest your starters, give them as much time off to heal and stay as fresh as you possibly can down the stretch. You also potentially build up some depth that you can pull up if you have to. So, I think you save your arms, and if you drop a couple of those games, so be it.
Yeah.
As long as you don't drop so many that it puts you out of the playoff race, which I don't think that's going to be a risk for these Atlanta Braves. Again, sitting at 15-6 on the season. Got the best record in baseball. Tonight, the Braves will face the putrid Miami Marlins again. 7:20 first pitch. Max Fried will take the mound in that game. Let's see. Sticking with baseball, but on the college level, Clemson 32-7 plays at Georgia tonight to take on the number 20 Georgia Bulldogs. It's great to see Clemson on the road playing Georgia. This needs to happen more. It didn't happen in basketball this past season, but obviously it does this year in football.
10 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, South Carolina is off for a midweek game this week. They have exams. Sticking with the Gamecocks, though, but moving over to the track and field / football side, Nick Harbor was awarded the SEC Track and Field Men's Co-Freshman of the Week award. Shout out to him for achieving that, and shout out to the South Carolina Gamecock recruiting services, everybody there involved on campus for having the vision to let Nick Harbor do what he does on the track and field side, and then, hurry up and get him ready for football. So shout out to him.
It's got to help though, right?
You stay healthy. You don't, you strain a different set of muscles, or you work a slightly different set of muscles. The only thing I could think is maybe you're not in game shape, used to getting hit quite as much.
Yeah.
When you're taking time away from football.
I'm for it though, man.
But we talk about the specialization of athletes in general these days, and how much that we see injuries piling up.
Yeah.
Because kids are focusing on one sport all the time, every day, without taking any breaks and playing a different sport, working a different skill set. There are life lessons that you can't put a finger on, but they're there when you play different sports and you get coached by different coaches. So Cavaliers lead Orlando 2-0. New York leads Philly 2-0, and Denver leads LA 2-0 after last night, man. A lot of not a whole lot of parity in these NBA playoffs.
Not right now. They're sure not. Hey, wonderful show. Great job, Diesel, as always. We appreciate you, the Tolo, being a part of the program. Tolo, if you don't know, stands for Turn It On, Leave It On.
So here's one. Sorry, Cole. One more final thing that just came into our inboxes. Jordan Butler, a native of Greenville, South Carolina,
yes,
has signed with the Gamecocks. He is transferring from Missouri to South Carolina. The dude is a hoss. I don't know if he's a player or not, but he's 7 foot, 230-pound forward coming from Missouri, transferring to South Carolina. So that is a good get for Lamont Paris.
So he made it official, huh?
Yes, he did.
Good news for the Gamecocks. We will see you tomorrow at Ingalls Powdersville, Diesel.
That's right.
We will see you there. Hope you can come out. If you can't make it tomorrow, we'll see you on Thursday at Dave & Buster's for the draft show, the draft party. Come out, hang out, have fun, have something to eat or drink, and watch the draft with us.